Okay. I. God damn it, I wanted to blow dry my hair. I don't think I have a blow dryer here. Alright, hold on, let me. Oh my god, is this dead? Dog. Can't do shit around here. Oh my god. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab a straightener, okay? I mean, not a straightener, a fucking blow dryer. Also, look at my outfit. Wait, hold on. Okay. Print so fat. Guys, I just got a little I got a little business having a blah blah blah. You're welcome. Anyways, blinker checkpoint before I blow dry my hair. I also bought this, but this is a cheapie, so I have to see if this actually works. I don't know about this. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this one. Doesn't look like it's going to be very helpful. Why is it so... Let's do this. Blue? Yeah, blue's a little bit better. Oh my god, it's so fucking hot in here. Alright, I'm gonna have to turn on the air. Tell me if you can hear the air conditioning, okay? Because I think it's loud as fuck. Tell me if you can hear it. Okay, so I went to the salon and my stylist gave me this. Thank you. I think what's it called? The Final Destination movie came out. I want to watch that. I want to watch that so bad. I would walk around, like, I would go out in this outfit, but unfortunately my booty cheeks pop out every single time I take a step. My ass cheek falls out, so unfortunately, I think I can wear the top out. But the shorts are so cute, but, like, literally, I'm not trying to walk around, you know, like, Target with my ass out, you know, so. If I ask you on a date and bring you to Cheesecake Factory, would I have a chance at a long term? I don't know. That's a good question. Okay, wait. Blinker before we blow dry my hair. I forgot. Oh, I burped. Okay. Ooh, I can't kissy shit right now. Hold on. feel like I'm gonna burst into flames. Well, I'm not emo anymore. Well, I mean, I am emo, but like I'm like a different brand of emo now. With the blue hair, what was I giving? Like Starbucks barista. Somebody said I looked like every single librarian in Philadelphia. Somebody once said that to me. So now it's kind of giving like I'm in an indie band. Those are the vibes that my hairstyle is giving right now. Indie band vibes. I feel like that guy from that band, Never Shout Never. Ash Trevino said that she got her extensions redone, but you can see that they weren't. And I thought that was really funny. Because you know how you can see my tape in here, right? Her hair was like already just sitting like this. Her hair was sitting like this and she turned to the side and you can see like her entire weft. It was so funny. Oh, poor girl. Oh, poor Ash Trevino. She lives in her car now because she doesn't know how to manage her money. Oh, poor Ash Trevino. Looks kind of stupid. Oh, you know what I need? I need dry shampoo. That's what's pissing me off, I think. Actually, what do you think? Should I leave it like this? I think it's fine. But what gets me is that I can see this. I see it. But like if I don't point it out to you, like you probably won't see it, but people still talk about that thing. Um yeah, there's like a snark of her on Reddit that I followed it like a while ago, and I was looking at my Reddit today, checking up on stuff, and I was on my explore page, and my whole explore page is that subreddit. So I was like looking at like the new shit that she's done, and I was just like, what the fuck? She's literally going live in her car with like trash bags in the back seat, and but she said she was gonna go move into a mansion. A mansion, girl. Okay, thank you. It's kind of unsettling me here. This little blend here is unsettling me. But I think I'm just gonna straighten it. I was trying not to straighten it, but it's gonna have to get straightened. Unless I hit one of these. I don't really want to, though. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little too specific about this. Alright. Sorry, when I focus, I like stick my gut out. When you focus, do you ever forget about your posture and you just go, wah? I do that. My back, I think I have fucking scoliosis or something. My back naturally curves to the side, like when I'm sitting. I'll be sitting like this. And I have to adjust myself. Let's see. Alright, honestly, let's just straighten it. Because this is a lot of, like... this is a lot of work. And I think I'm just gonna straighten it. It's gonna make this a little bit easier for me. If I can find my straightener. Because I lost it. My straightener. My straightener. No, my nose is leaking. Oh, I can't do shit around here. Can't have shit. My nose. My straightener. My nose. My straightener. Wow, this is like one of those times where I probably just like dumped it somewhere like really random. It should have been right here though. Oh, I'm just built different, guys. I'm just built different. I'm really bad at keeping my stuff together. I'm so silly and quirky. Alright, well, I can't find it for real. I'm gonna take a blinker while I stand up and I look for this. So this is a blinker checkpoint. Okay, well, it's definitely not over here. No, but for real though, where the fuck did I put that straightener? That's so crazy. How did I misplace that so quickly? Alright, whatever. Do you think my hair looks fine? Should I leave it like this? Or should I fix this? No, I was using my blow dryer. I was looking at my straightener. You don't think it looks stupid? I think it looks a little stupid. I think I'm gonna burst into flames. Is this it? No, it's not. No. No! Alright, it's fine. I'm just gonna leave it like this. Okay. How is this? Why am I so bad at taking care of my hair? Dude, look, this is already fried. You deleted Twitter and TikTok to lock in and it's not working? What do you mean it's not working? it's so itchy back here. Imagine having like individual pieces, singular strands of hair being tugged by something. Oh my god, this is really sending me. I should gel this. I already fucked it. Guys, I already ruined my hair. Okay, I do makeup, but blinker checkpoint. Also, I think I watched a video about It's Cinnabunny. I don't remember if I watched it on here or on my bikini stream. Are you being sarcastic? What's it called? Yeah, well, somebody, I think it was like Repzilla, that YouTuber that does documentaries on people on social media. He did a video on her, and I was curious. So I found her snark on Reddit, and let me know why she's like actively beefing with her Reddit snark. Oh, she's fighting for her life in there. And I also learned that this woman... Okay, I have a question. What is your personal opinion about freezing a pet that has passed away? Say your pet passed away and you want to taxidermy it, which already is a little strange. So you put it in the freezer. But you don't have enough money for taxidermy. So you're like, oh, I'm going to wait and I'm going to put them in the freezer so I can do it later. But instead of doing it later, they're actively spending money on things that don't matter and their animal is still in the freezer. I think that's like disrespect of like a dead body. Like, I don't care if it's like an animal or not, but I feel like why are you disrespecting this little guy's body? That's crazy. But that girl that I'm talking about, I learned that about her today, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that. I don't know how long she's had that animal in her freezer, but she had like a 16-year-old dog or something, and it's in her freezer. And apparently what I've heard is that she plans on taxidermying it, but it's been there for months and she hasn't set any of that up yet. That's what it sounds like to me. That's weird. If you're gonna do taxidermy, you should have all that set up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about? Your pets, you don't have enough what? So I was wondering, like, what's like your opinion on like somebody putting like a pet in the freezer for later? I personally, me, no. Personally, me, if you told me that, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my dog taxidermied, she's in my freezer right now, you want to see? Do I want to see? If I could call the cops on you, I would. But just know, I can't, but I would. Okay? I would. So yeah, that's what I think about that. I was really like thinking about that a lot today, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot that people put things in freezers. For what? This was my face reading about that. Yeah. Well, that lady, there's definitely something going on with that lady. And that lady that with the animal in her freezer, she is, like I said, she's arguing with the Reddit page that is talking shit about her. And somebody just made a new documentary about her on YouTube. Somebody did an overview of her life, and she's fighting for her life, trying to dispute with these people like, I'm not that bad of a person, that's not true, you're twisting my words. Every shred of information that these people have about her is because she's said it herself. So I don't know. It's just like really weird. What's her name again? It's Cinnabunny. I was thinking about watching the documentary. That's why I was like briefing you on it. So I was thinking if it's out, we could listen to that. Cyrus, you don't like listening to bad people all day? No, I'm kidding. But I actually went down a little rabbit hole of like social media snarks, and there's a lot that people take really far, like on Reddit. Okay, this makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, I was planning on playing that while I do my makeup. If I can find it. I haven't looked for it yet, but I was on the Reddit and they said that the person had posted it already, so it was Repzilla apparently that posted it. Okay. Pack a cone first or find the documentary first. It's not even a documentary. I shouldn't call it, I don't know if I should call it a documentary. But I think if it's like an hour long of like factual research. It's giving documentary. You're down? Okay, let me turn my air off. It's like way too hot. I mean, way too cold. I'm gonna say it's hot in like 5 seconds too. Okay. Let's see. Oh my god, now it's hot again. I can't do shit around here. I need like a fan to be blowing at me like under the desk. And I need to have like an on and off switch. Okay, let's see. Where is Repzilla? Oh, here it is. Oh, no, I think I already watched this. But they did a live stream. What's it called? I didn't finish it. Okay, we can watch that. And then the reason why it came up again is because she did a response video to the person talking about her. And then she did another response to another person responding to the videos about her life. So I kind of wanted to see that. Hold on a second. I wanted to see, because they're like an hour long. Oh my god. Ugh. She looks like she hasn't showered in like 3 weeks. Okay, let's do this one. Cheers. Hi. Let's open this up. Okay, so Cinnabunny, the title is this. Cinnabunny, the horrific story behind TikTok's most degenerate mother. Now, I don't think she's the greatest mother, but I also don't think she's TikTok's worst mother. But actually, what's the definition of degenerate again? It could be true. Okay, tell me if you can hear this well. And the person who documented this, they do this all the time. So they're good at this. That's like true documentary style. What's my tea on Resilient Jenkins? Are you talking about that lady who has like 7 kids and makes them sleep in the living room and she sleeps in a bed with her husband? I don't like that lady. Because you know what? There was a police story that a dad was taking care of the kid for the weekend. The kid was on the couch. Somebody broke in. The kid went first. So that's literally part of the reason as to why we are not supposed to do that. But I mean, hey, if you don't like your kids, that's something that you do. So it seems like they don't like their kids, which is fucked up in itself.
Hey, welcome back in today's video. A TikTok mom who centers her online presence around intimate relations with multiple people at the same time. Her name is...
Oh, by the way, Cyrus, this is that remember I told you a while ago that there was like a poly person that I thought was like kind of interesting, and it was like the internet was like bullying her, and I thought it was kind of funny, and I wanted to mention it to you. This is that person.
Dana, aka It's Cinnabunny. It's been alleged that she uses her child as rage bait. Multiple ex-partners have recently come forward alleging emotional and psychological abuse, and it's also been reported that she's exploiting their community, and there's some not good practices that are going on, some things that just are not safe. Some of the hypocrisy and logic absolutely bends my brain. This person seems to think that 7-year-olds can consent to be...
She thinks that if she asks her 7-year-old, hey, do you consent to this? And the 7-year-old says yes. She thinks that's her 7-year-old understanding how consent works, and her 7-year-old can consent to things because her 7-year-old said yes.
Being filmed, as well as she thinks that CSA cases on children are somehow more severe than others based on if they're a 16-year-old or a 12-year-old.
No, I used to have snake bites, the one that's like the 2 dots there, but I got it taken out. Well, I didn't get it taken out. I ate a sandwich and it fell out, and I didn't put it back.
All that and more in today's episode of Exploring TikTokers. Here we go again.
I got my blue hair fixed. Oh my god, you didn't think it looked like... Oh, man, like if you look at a before picture and my hair now, my blue hair looked so fucking chopped, bro. I was just letting that grow.
If you're unfamiliar, well, you gotta log in to view this person's account because it may have some uncomfortable things. And for obvious reasons. They have 96.1 thousand followers and 2.7 million likes. They also have
That Cinnabunny person is literally the poster child for poly people. And that's so unfortunate. That is so unfortunate because there are, you know, obviously everybody's different. So obviously there are poly people who are like super chill, regular people. And then things like this happen, and then, you know, it gives them a bad name, and it's like, bruh, you know?
Instagram with 47.2 thousand followers, and also a YouTube with 592 subscribers. They also list their pronouns,
Thank you.
they, he, and she. Their oldest TikTok video says it was posted 6/10/2020, and it's about a rooster in the Starbucks drive-thru. Her second video is about her getting straight girls in her DMs. Dana's entire social media presence revolves around poly relationships.
She got straight girls in her DMs?
The ins and outs of that. So if you want to learn about unicorn hunting and booty hole tattoos...
You guys know what unicorn hunting is? You know what that is? Listen. Have you ever gone on Tinder, right? And you see a girl, and this usually happens to women. So if you're a man, you might have not experienced this. But you'll see a girl, and she'll post her boyfriend too. Or she'll like post herself first as like a gag. And then you look at the profile and she has a boyfriend. And then she's like, oh, I want to make friends. And then they're trying to get you into their threesome. So I don't really like that. A lot of the time it's like rude and inappropriate, and they're pressing people in weird ways. But for the most part, fine. When you go into the areas where that's normal, like say, why don't you go to a swingers club and do that? Why do you have to go to places where people don't know what you're doing so you can jump scare them? That's really weird. Why don't you go to places where that is made for that? Why? So you can get people that don't know what they're doing? That's predatory. That's not cute. Also, somebody on my YouTube said 16-year-olds can consent. The age of consent is 18, so I feel like even if you feel like a 16-year-old can consent, there are things that have happened to me at 16 where I consented to that I wish I knew better and didn't do that because I was 16 and I didn't know better. And the adult in the situation made me feel like it was okay. And now that I'm older, I know it wasn't. So no, a 16-year-old cannot consent. You might think that, and if you think that, you might be a little fucking weird.
This is your place, and I don't think they mean the type of unicorn that you think they mean.
You silly sneaky head, wake up!
Dana also runs a business where she makes paddles and sells them, although a lot of these appear to have trademark properties on them. I'm scared.
Yeah, she can get sued for this. She makes paddles, but they're trademark companies like Pokemon and stuff like that. So if they really gaffed about it, they could sue her and she could get her business all fucked up.
Jesus Christ. Using logos without authorization for commercial products, especially adult-themed ones, can lead to serious legal troubles. Things like trademark infringement, copyright infringement, brand tarnishment, violation of licensing agreements, civil lawsuits and financial penalties, and platform bans and content removal. Got some Sailor Moon,
my
some
God.
Lilo and Stitch here, Pokemon. That song might literally get this.
And the thing about the Pokemon one, there are some creators who have like Pokemon themed names and stuff like that, and they've had to change their stuff because Pokemon literally tells them like, hey, you can't do that. So,
Whole entire video copyright struck.
or Nintendo.
And paying taxes on
My
alleged
bad.
stolen art is like robbing a store and then paying sales tax on the stolen goods. It doesn't make the crime legal, assuming you're paying taxes. But maybe she did get legal permission by the Pokemon Company. I mean, we just really don't know, although I would like to have been a fly on the wall of that conversation. This is the Pokemon Company guidelines, restrictions. You may not use content in a way that implies partnership, sponsorship, or endorsement, in a way that makes our brand or logo the most distinctive or prominent feature of what you're creating, or in conjunction.
So basically, if somebody wanted to report her, she's fucked. Somebody probably already has, but I think people would have to like complain or like the company really give a fuck. But I don't even think she really be making sales like that for them to even care either. I don't know how that works.
Conjunction with any materials considered to be, in our sole discretion, objectionable, illegal, or otherwise offensive. You shall not use any branding material in a way that tarnishes or dilutes the branding material.
Hey, but I'll tell you what. Out of all of this that we know of this woman on the internet, I would say the only good thing about her and the only decent thing she's doing is making these paddles, because they look high quality. They look really cool. So if she didn't do all of this extra bullshit talking about X, Y, and Z, she probably could have had a decent paddle business, to be honest. They're pretty chill, but considering the person she is, not so chill anymore.
Holds
Thank
that
you.
patent light.
Okay, by the way, I'm packing this cone right now. We're gonna spark up a little bit, and then I'm gonna do my makeup, and we're gonna see. Luckily, my skin is like not horrifying today. Like, look, we zoom in. It's not that bad. Yeah, so basically they're saying that she's using like logos on her paddles and she needs to be licensed or approved by the person. Like say she puts like Pikachu on her paddle, she needs permission for that. And she's been basically doing that.
Pokemon Company International or any of its products or services. And seeing as how TikTok seems to think your content is uncomfortable, this probably aligns. Well, I'm not here to talk about alleged art theft. I'm here because you voted for it. As you said 8 days ago, what should the next video be?
Oh my god. 8 days ago, what should the next video be? Ashley Trevino part 3 or It's Cinnabunny?
And
Part 3 is crazy.
nearly 4,000 votes, and It's Cinnabunny got 48%. And some of the things that people were reporting and saying was, Cinnabunny is a monster. Do them next, please. Cinnabunny, this person is flat out insane. You should definitely do Cinnabunny. This person has so much crazy lore. Crying face emoji. It literally just kept going and going. And when I looked into it, there were some very concerning things. But first and foremost, everything this
Very concerning. Things. That thing. He hit that thing.
video is alleged. Do not go attacking anybody I speak about in this video.
Hi, hello, it's me, Dana.
And before we get started, I gotta admit,
You guys on TikTok are missing out on that funny ass zoom he just did.
this is the Dana. You know, I might not have made this video, but I don't think you've ever heard of what the Streisand effect is. So when you DM'd me and subtly tried to threaten me into silence, which you're not the first creator to try to do something
Ooh, she DM'd this guy about his video, trying to threaten him.
like that here on the internet, it really got me curious and wanting to look deep. And the things that I talk about in this video, most of it's
I feel like that makes it so much worse, girl. Why would you do that?
from your own mouth, and we're gonna go over it. We're gonna lay it out, and we're gonna see where we go. And then you started deleting things like your Reddit. But don't worry, lucky for you, I actually was already researching you well before you did that. So I got everything that I needed. See, what I do is sometimes
Cinnabunny realized too late that people were researching her and looking at her content, so she started deleting shit. Babes, the internet is forever. They already got you. There's already 2 documentaries, 2-hour-long documentaries about her on YouTube already, and an entire Reddit with receipts.
kind of like put feelers out and tell people I'm making videos, and then kind of sit back and see what the reaction's gonna be. And
I just think when you go back and delete something because someone's talking about you, that's how you know that you're guilty of doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. So we know that she's doing something wrong, and now we know that she acknowledges that she knows that she's been doing something wrong, right? That's what I think when somebody deletes stuff.
couldn't believe how many times people usually
So she
start
knows
wanting to
better.
delete things. And as the Streisand effect dictates, I must look into it. Now we're going to go over her preemptive strike. I'm going to kind of break it down and show you what was actually going on here and why you don't respond to things like this. And the reason that I'm doing this is because it's reflective over things that she's done in the past that I've seen. Some trends, some things that are patterns. Pause for today's sponsor, and since this person threatens lawsuits so much, you're going to love this one. You know, it's really frustrating.
We're gonna
getting
skip
injured
this.
in the marriage. He's fighting to
Oh my god, they have a Morgan and Morgan fucking ad. That's crazy.
you. 3440 come right from no other piece. You could be the Morgan with a deep dive video on me on what we
Okay, this is the message that this lady sent to the person who's doing the documentary on her, trying to threaten them.
do. Back to the video. Hey Rebzilla, I heard you might be considering a deep dive video on me. And I just wanted to reach out directly. You're absolutely welcome to cover me if you feel like it's worth your time. I know how the internet works. I'm not here to stop anyone from making content. So we gotta read between the lines here. The opening is meant to make them seem approachable and reasonable, that they won't be irrationally hostile at any pieces on them. That said, I do have a very large hate group that is committed to tearing me down, so I'd encourage you to fact check anything you come across. Yeah, you know, I really appreciate the help. I planned on taking everything at face value and not fact checking everything. Thank you for the tip. So basically what this is called framing the narrative. By saying that she's got a large hate group, it sort of frames criticism against them as part of an org.
That said, I do have a very large hate group that is committed to tearing me down, so I'd encourage you to fact check anything you come across. Most of the things that these people have said are straight from what do they say? Straight from the horse's mouth. What is that? Isn't that a saying? I forgot. I think there's a saying like that. Or fuck. I have to look it up. My bad.
Organized smear campaign rather than legitimate concerns. And also something I've heard before. If you have any questions or want clarification on anything, I'm more than open to having a conversation.
Like, I'm serious too. Like, nobody's misinterpreting what she's saying. From what I've seen, all of these posts are literal screenshots and videos of her doing or saying something. And then everybody's like, are you doing this? And she's like, no. How could you say I'm doing that? I'm clearly doing this. And everybody's like, girl.
In my experience, the offer to ask questions and have clarifications on things is a strategic attempt to control the narrative. If she had just reached out to talk,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would've probably
Thank you. I'm right. Straight from the horse's mouth. Sorry. That just sounded like rude when I said it. I don't know. But I do know that that's a saying.
talked, but this is not what this is. This is loaded PR jargon where she wants to frame a narrative. I know my truth, and I don't lose sleep over what other people choose to believe about.
Hey, babes. Hey, babes. If you have to tell us that you don't lose sleep over what people choose to believe about you, I'm inclined to believe that you are actively losing sleep because that's something that you decided to point out. Just saying.
About me. If your video sticks to typical commentary, comedy, or normal internet hearsay, I'll take it in stride. But if anything is wildly inaccurate or defamatory, I do have legal
What's my favorite food? I like 7-Eleven pizza.
representation that will get involved as necessary. While phrased diplomatically, the mention of legal representation
Phrased diplomatically is a very big compliment to this woman.
is meant to be a threat. You don't want me to make this video, even though you say it won't bother you. By saying that you'll accept typical commentary, comedy, or internet hearsay in stride,
Hey, stop. I'm just
you
fixing
are
it.
attempting to influence my narrative, and obviously you have not watched any of my videos. Either way, I just wanted to extend the offer to chat. If you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, I just want to extend my offer to chat so I can tell you about it, so I can tell you in the way that I want to tell you, and you won't listen to anybody else saying it, because the way that I say it, that's exactly how it happened. I don't want you to get it from anybody else. So if you want to chat, I could tell you about it.
Dana here, Cinnabunny. This is not a reach out and talk to me. This is a PR and veiled intimidation. You're not open to criticism. You're trying to steer me away from it. Calling everyone a hate group is deflection. If multiple sources criticize you, it's not a hate group, it's a pattern. And then you try to silence me, as if you're the first to try something like that here on the internet. You know?
Chicken buffalo rollers? No, but you know what I did do? I went to Chili's the other day. It was alright. Their margarita was too... They have like a new margarita. It was too strong. And then I was like, hey, this is really strong. And then he brought me back a different one. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And he was like, yeah, I told the bartender to make the classic one for you. So I was like, so you're telling me that the regular version is not the one that you gave me? You gave me the version with extra alcohol? When did I ask you for that? Do I look like... Do I pull up and you just automatically assume if I'm an alcoholic or not? Or... I'm just saying, that shit was real strong.
If this didn't bother you, you wouldn't have sent this message. And imagine my surprise when I found out this isn't the first time she's done something.
No, Chili's is awesome though. But like sometimes it's like kind of trash because of like the service. Well, not the service itself, but sometimes the food is... Okay, say for example the mac and cheese. The mac and cheese, they single served it and they had it waiting, sitting there all day. And you can tell because it was crunchy at the top. If they had it in a big pot and they served it individually, it would be fresh every single time. So that was kind of gross to me.
And like this. We'll talk more about it later.
I've never been to Applebee's, and I don't think I'm ever going to be to Applebee's. Wait, what? I don't think I'm ever going to be to... Okay.
You see, apparently October 19th, 2015, Dana got married to a guy named Matthew Hare.
Ooh, why he look like that there? Sparking up. We're doing a blinker checkpoint, okay?
Matthew, it turns out, has a record of terrible things. As you can see, it's quite decorated. We have possession, driving under the influence, several...
I'm sorry. This is a very colorful record. Leave accident scene with property damage. Possession, battery, another battery. Contributing to delinquency of a child, another battery. Reckless driving. Reduced from DUI/first offense. Battery of a facility employee. By expelling certain fluids. Battery, driving under the influence, possession. I'm sorry?
Decorated. We have possession, driving under the influence, several battery charges, some severe, some involving children. It is important for me to say alleged on some of these situations because they could still be ongoing or they could be picked back up.
Oh, yeah.
We will be going over some of these later. One thing I noticed over the last decade is that Dana will call everyone that has criticism towards her haters, hate groups. And so one hater alleges, fun fact, she's still legally married to a P3DO and rapist, and called the woman and girls who spoke out against him a hate club. This man also strangled her infant daughter, and she keeps his last name.
He did. He did that. He did strangle the baby because the baby had little red dots, and that's from lack of oxygen when she took it to the hospital, and then CPS came, and CPS didn't ask her anything away from him. So since he was standing right next to her while they were asking her questions, she said, I don't think anything's wrong. But if they separated her, she might have said something for real. Because at the time she said she was fearing for her own safety is what she was saying, apparently.
Why would this hater say something like that? Oh, it's because you said it. Now it's 2018.
That's what I'm saying. Why would this hater say something like that? Oh, it's because you yourself told us. There's literally a fucking blog where she's sentence by sentence describing what happened. And then she's like, hey, that's not what happened. Girl, we got the proof right here.
August the 16th, and I'm at work. Matt's at home. Well, my parents are home watching blank while I work. I get a concerned text message about a rash. I hurry home from work, and the rash seems alarming. So we take her to the emergency room. I don't get a lot of questions answered. I don't know what's happening. The doctors tell me they know it's not a rash, but don't know much else. Suddenly, late night,
Girls, they know.
the cops show up with DCF. DCF being Florida's version of CPS. As you can see, it's the Florida Department of Children and Family Services. The cops show up with DCF, and we're all being questioned. Turns out it wasn't a rash. It was this P word.
Petechia.
It's
Petechia.
petechia, and I know you want to know the definition. Tiny pinpoint red or purple spots that appear on the skin due to bleeding under the surface. You're welcome.
You know when that also happens? That happened to me when I stretched my ears too quickly, and you get a blowout. You get the little, oh, hold on, let me put this down. You get a bunch of red dots underneath here, and it goes white with a bunch of red dots, and that's how you know that you should probably size back down, because your ear is going to explode.
Specifically, asphyxiation, strangulation, and loss of airflow to the brain. Or at least that's how the cops explained it to me. I told them what I knew. I was at work, she was in Matt's care. Of course, they asked me if I thought Matt could be capable of harming our daughter. I knew he was capable, but I froze and said, I don't know. Because realistically, everything was happening really fast, and I jumped to thinking nobody...
Okay, look. Her first explanation to this is she froze and she didn't know, right? But she now is not saying anything about fearing. She knew he was capable, but she didn't say anything about being fearful or nothing like that, right? I think later on, that is the narrative that she goes with.
Nobody was capable of harming an innocent baby, let alone their own. But I'm realizing now I was very wrong and very lucky that my little girl's still with me. The day upon getting released from the hospital, DCF showed up to our house and ordered Matt out of the home and not to have any contact with blank without agreed upon supervision, being my parents or his parents. While in the hospital, blank underwent full body bone scan and x-ray, and to this day I haven't seen the results of that. Though I have questioned them, as far as my understanding goes, Matt was
I'm pretty sure if they don't give you it, that means that nothing happened. Because Florida tends to do that. I've had that happen.
heavily investigated by the police in DC.
But then, something could actually happen and they just don't tell you. Wow, it's really fucked up out here.
And then the case was just closed. I didn't tell the DCF agent on my case that Matt could have done something like this. She also shared this story more recently on an Instagram post. I also want to share something deeply personal. When my daughter was less than a year old, Matt hurt her, and I didn't witness it happen. But when I was confronted by the police in a hospital setting late at night, they asked if I thought he was capable of
This is
such
where
a
she
thing.
says it.
Out of fear, and because Matt was with me at the time, I said, I don't know.
That's where she says this, but originally she didn't say that.
Instead of the truth. Yes, I believe he was capable. I was much younger then, scared, hurt, and traumatized, and unsure of what to do. To this day, the moment is one of my deepest regrets.
You know, sometimes you do things, right, out of stress, whatever. But definitely with the fact that she made it a point to say that she didn't go back and tell anyone, that's how you know she thought about it. And if at the time you couldn't say it and you thought about that you should have said it, then maybe you should make a phone call, or you should pull up and be like, hey, I wasn't able to do this at this time, and I want to let you know this. No? That's not possible?
Looking back, I wish I had been brave enough to speak the truth in that moment, but I cannot change the past.
You don't have to even do it in the moment. She could have done it after. She could have called.
What I can do now is speak openly and honestly about who he is and advocate for
Personally, me, that's what I would have done. I'm just saying that's why.
accountability and the justice
How old is she, this lady? This lady, I think she's like 28 or something like that.
for all of the people he's hurt, including my daughter. This is a terrible thing that happened, and if all this is true, then that dude needs to be locked up. God, it's so bad. Like, he needs to be locked away. And you've said on multiple
Hi.
occasions how much you despise this person. I've been separated from my legal husband for over 7 years because he's been intentionally dragging out the process. And that time he's been in and out of jail a few times and is representing himself,
Yeah, I'm watching it on Twitch and YouTube.
which has caused endless delays. I'm still waiting for trial, hopefully early this year, so I can finally finalize the divorce and marry the man that I actually share my life with and refer to as my husband. Fingers crossed. It's been a long and costly journey. New rule: you bring up my ex-husband or baby daddy on my page, you get blocked. That's it. I think hate that guy, and I don't want to talk about him or see comments about him, thanks. Pretty much married scum separated as soon as our daughter was born, who I've been raising alone and financially covering with no help to baby daddy. And divorce is expensive, and he won't chip in. I see the legal proceedings. You are still married. I hope that you get the divorce that you want, but there's just a lot of things that don't add up. Now, this whole time, I have one girl I know telling me all these terrible things about Matt. Alleged things, of course. You all know what I'm talking about. Now, keep in mind that she said you all know what I'm talking about. I also have 3 more girls I don't really know telling me all these same similar...
IDK, it seems like she should have gotten the help she needed legit after false reporting. I feel like you could also argue that maybe she was still scared, but the point of that was she didn't say anything because he was standing right there. So if she acknowledges that she should have done better, then she should have done better. Saying it doesn't make it better. Going to do it makes it better, you know?
Terrible alleged things about Matt, but I don't even know them. I went to high school with one of them, and we had ceramics class together, but I feel like I knew Matt way more than I knew even one girl I can claim to be an old acquaintance.
The last time I believed a guy that I was dating about something was when I was a minor. If one person says something, if 2 people say something, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, girl. We need to go get you like an eye exam and get your ears cleaned out because that's crazy.
But the one girl I knew, she pushed me mentally the same way my mom pushed me as a kid with listening.
Hot Pocket took away the sleeves. Yeah, they did. They did take away the sleeves. It's really fucked up.
The Fallout Boy. I wanted to rebel.
I was mad about
attention. That. I wanted to be a big deal. I wanted to prove something. I don't know what I was trying to prove. I don't think I knew what kind of attention I was getting myself into, but I was too far gone. I started calling these girls the Matt Hate Club. And instead...
Wait, you don't use the sleeve on the Hot Pocket? I use the sleeve on the Hot Pocket. What do you mean you feel like no one uses them? I use it every single time. That's the fun of having a Hot Pocket, is the sleeve.
Using love and reason to get to me and help me realize the mistakes I was making. They used scare tactics and fear, the way they approached me. So you had 4 different women telling you terrible alleged things about the dude that you were getting with. There were articles posted detailing 7 girls, some as young as 15 years old, and you still proceeded with the relationship. So you're saying the reason that you stayed with this dude was because you're old? There were articles posted
He read this wrong. It says, on October 15th at 3:25 p.m., and he read it and said, as young as 15 years old, but I think the 15-year-old thing was true, but he screenshotted this and he read it wrong.
detailing 7 girls, some as young as 15 years old.
I was like, honey, that says October.15. I don't think that...
And you still proceeded with the relationship. So you're saying the reason that you stayed with this dude was because you wanted attention. You wanted
Just a little grammatical.
to rebel. You then called the women haters and blamed them for not using love and reason to help you. The article came out January 6, 2016, and it's only a 6-minute read. So I know you read the article and you still called these women haters. And I can't even read all the alleged things in this post on YouTube. It's important to note you wrote this in 2019. There were no apologies. You said, I don't want to talk about this further. You can comment, so you can leave praise. You can tell me I am strong or whatever other cliches you can think of, but I don't want to engage with this conversation further about any of this. And to the Matt Hair Hate Club, I know y'all will see this. You can reach out to me in civil means. I don't want any I told you so moments. I don't want...
You never used them?
to be friends. I don't want drama, just some solidarity. If that's not what you're looking for, please continue to leave me alone. So again, there were no apologies. You expected to be called strong and still called these women haters. One hater alleges completely dismissing a handful of women and their experiences with Matt is a sign, to me at least, that she will apologize for an abuser even before knowing what all they did.
At what age do you think a woman should be able to identify abusive scenarios? It's not the fact that, like, there's an age to identify an abusive scenario. I'm saying, for example, me, I had one person come to me and say, hey, this guy that you're dating did XYZ thing. And I was like, no way. Because then he told me that they were lying, and I was 17, 16 at the time. This is also very different because there is an article and 7 people who came forward in an article. So I feel like she was just being straight up really ignorant for like no good reason. I think you should always be wary, you know, of things like that, if anybody comes up to you saying, hey, this person, you should be careful, I feel like you maybe should take that into consideration.
Did. Even to this day, she still says she had reason not to believe those women because they weren't nice to her for
Do you hear this? Okay, listen to this. This is what she said about this.
at least. That she will apologize for an abuser even before knowing what all they did. Even to this day, she still says she had reason not to believe those women because they weren't nice to her for defending her husband against them.
She had reason to not believe those women because they weren't nice to her. You see? It's big. She just didn't give a fuck. That's a big I don't give a fuck, basically.
She still doesn't see them as victims. Another say
She still doesn't see them as victims. A moment of silence for this woman. She literally doesn't give a fuck. Like, literally. This is literally her actively showing us that she does not give a fuck.
and yes, the idea that victims should behave a certain way is really harmful. Another saying, she claimed that they asked in front of Matt if she thinks he's capable of doing something like that. I'm pretty sure that's against protocol. Usually they take you to a private room or question you separately. Let's look it up and see if it's true. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, interviews with victims should occur in safe, private setting, away from the suspect or anyone who may influence or intimidate the victim. World Health Organization, never interview a woman in the presence of her partner. Privacy and confidentiality are critical to ensure her safety and encourage disclosure. National Domestic Violence Hotline, it's important to give them space and speak to them away from the abuser, where they feel safe. And RAIN, make sure the environment is private and that the survivor feels physically and emotionally safe before you begin asking any questions. Also, if you are in a bad situation, here is the number for RAIN. They will help you in these situations. It's also this year's fundraiser. For the ride on desktop below on mobile, let me know if you guys have donated. I really appreciate you doing that if you do decide
Oh, very nice.
to do that. So explain to me, Dana, in what ways your own words are incorrect.
Oh, yeah, he's doing a donation. Like a... Wow. A fundraiser. Well, that's good. That's a good way to use his platform. Wow. Very nice. Very nice.
Correct here. As we walk through it, it seems like everything that was alleged, you verified. Other thing is why in God's name are you still defending this man to this day? Especially after you said all the negative things you've said about him. It doesn't make sense to me. And the strangest hills you climb. One hater alleging now she's trying to reframe Matt Hare's crimes and gives the impression of minimizing them because they weren't little girls. That's not what happened. Like 16, it's not about age alone, it's about consent, power dynamics, and the harm that was caused. Dana's conduct in these videos is dangerous and harmful.
Okay, so also, another thing that she doesn't give a fuck about, she doesn't care because she says that the girl was old enough and the girl was like 15. She's like, oh, well, it wasn't like a little kid, like it wasn't like a toddler, so it's not a big deal. I'm sorry? Girl, what are you fucking saying? Like, I want her to stand in front of a group of people and say that in real life. That's what I want her to do.
People hear something and they take that inch and they run a full mile.
Thank you.
I'm really, really getting sick and tired of people confusing my ex, Matt, with Eli. Eli has never touched anyone underage.
Imagine having to say this.
And my ex, Matt, has not touched, like, little girls. People are like, I heard he a 4-year-old. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened. She was, like, 16 or 17, and he was, like, 19
Oh, big yawn. Oh.
or 20.
16.
Do with that information as you will.
This is gross logic.
Very disgusting logic, may I add. That's the worst logic, maybe, that you could have.
And it is the minimizing of CSA, and it's a little bit contradictory because she's already admitted to knowing these alleged things. Like I said earlier, she knew what everyone was talking about. Like, that is the thing. Let's go read. One girl alleging another underage girl says that last year, Hare got her and her underage sister passed out drunk on whiskey. She'd never been drunk before. Another alleged
This is what she's defending, by the way.
she was 15. He would have been 22. She has not reported the incident to police. If proved, Hare could be convicted of lewd and lascivious just for having had with her. Another.
So you're telling me it's not a big deal that a 22-year-old coerced a 15-year-old? Because it wasn't a little girl. You don't consider a 15-year-old a little girl because you personally don't think that that's a big deal? What the fuck are we talking about right now, you know?
One saying that he was mad because she didn't want to hook up with him, and he grabbed the sheet, wrapped it around her face, and punched her. So YouTube won't let me talk about the alleged situations within detail. It's against their guidelines. But
I think the only reason that she's trying to defend it is because she herself doesn't want to look like a bad person. But the thing is, defending it is what makes you look like a bad person. If you said, yeah, I was with this person and I made a mistake and this is very disgusting, that's fine. But I don't think she wants that because I think she believes that that makes her look disgusting. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? But it would be better for her to not stand on that because that's makes it like, I just think her perception of things is very strange.
Can read you the voicemail. On October 15th at 3:25 p.m., FWM posted a message on a private Facebook group funded by Hare's alleged victims, seeking to speak with women who've been hurt by Hare. He was not identified by name. At 5:29 p.m. that day, I received this voicemail at the phone number provided in the post. Hello. So at this point in time, Dana was married to Matt. Hello, this voicemail is being recorded solely for legal purposes and can be...
So listen to this. This is a voicemail that she left to a victim. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Let's listen to this.
Received
Yeah.
this voicemail at the phone number provided in the post. Hello. So at this point in time, Dana was married to Matt. Hello, this voicemail is being recorded solely for legal purposes and can be subpoenaed to court if necessary. Good afternoon. My name is omitted. I am the wife of Matthew Hare, the person whom you, alongside with, is attempting to create a news narrative article about a blank case.
She says it herself.
This is something we have dealt with individually, personally, legally prior to the police. They have declaratively decided to be in mumbling Matthew Hare defendant's honor through legal documentation, nothing further. No legal action has been taken against Matthew, and publishing aforementioned article on their behalf is only slanderous against the police and defendant in question. I strongly advise against being coerced to publish any article related to this specific event. If you have any questions, contact my attorney. FWM called the attorney and learned that another attorney in the firm represents Hare and is in a pending criminal case. He's currently facing charges of battery and contributing to the delinquency of a child. The second attorney did not respond. Multiple requests for comment. FWM left multiple messages at the number from which the young woman called, seeking comment from her and or Hare. Neither returned messages. They also knocked on the door of a house. There was no answer, and they left a note. No one responded. So let's just take a look at one of his charges.
So she said, hey, don't spread lies. Talk to me instead. The girl said, okay, I'll go talk to you. And she was like, wait, not really. I actually didn't really want you to talk to me. Hey, Cinnabunny, this isn't a joke. Like, she's kind of like acting like this isn't a big deal, which is really disgusting and embarrassing.
So this one's a felony. Contributing to the delinquency of a child unlawfully did provide alcohol, which
Yeah, so
tend to cause, encourage, or contribute to blank a child to become a delinquent or dependent child or a child in need of services. Specifically, sometime between October 18th to 25 in 2014, Matthew Hare, with a closed right hand...
wait, hold on. Contributing to delinquency of a child unlawfully provided alcohol which caused... and contributed to a child becoming delinquent or dependent or in need of services. That's a thing? That's a charge? Wait, that's actually. I didn't know that. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, but it's under battery, anyways. I don't know anything about the law.
And making a fist did in fact punch Blank, a juvenile, in the left eye 2 times. As a result of this punch, Blank suffered a black eye. While Blank was with Matthew Hare, on numerous occasions since February provided her with alcohol, which she consumed, and Blank, which she smoked. Matthew Hare would intimidate Blank into doing things with him to get her to go to places with him. Blank is now under the care of a mental health doctor because of these incidents. So that was count 1. Here's count 2. On or about February 1st, 2014 through October 25th.
Okay. Somebody said, what is the subject? We are discussing a social media personality person thing that has a bad track record and is not a very good person.
2014, in the county of St. John, state of Florida, unlawfully did on various occasions provide...
Okay, so, yeah.
But more recently, she responded to the voicemail that was left. One hater alleges, is it your husband?
It was just, the rest of the charges, and I think we pretty much already know what he's done, so, and the charges are the same as the other charges. They're all the same charges, done to different people multiple times, so it's crazy how she's still standing on business. It's crazy.
A P3DO and didn't you threaten his victims with a lawsuit? She responds saying, X, and we've been separated for almost a decade.
Isn't your husband a P3DO and didn't you threaten his victims with a lawsuit? She responded with X, and we've been separated for almost a decade. Babes, we didn't acknowledge the threaten his victims with a lawsuit part, though. Babes? Huh? Question mark?
Decade. Another hater alleging, so it's fair to say that you threatened his victims with a lawsuit. I'm genuinely just curious since you didn't address it in your answer. I just would like some clarification. To which she responds, that's not exactly what happened. This was over 10 years ago at a very dark time of my life, while I was using substances and don't wish to bring it up. It's a time of my life I deeply regret.
So, because it's something that she regrets doing, she acknowledges that she did, but she doesn't want to say sorry or take accountability because she was on substances and she regrets it. Hey, that is actually when you should say, I'm sorry and I'm owning up to it. Regardless if you took a substance or not, you still said that. That still came out of your mouth. And you still said and did things. So that's something you have to own up to. Just because you're embarrassed by it doesn't mean you get to avoid it. And that doesn't make it any better at all. That actually makes it a trillion times worse. Like, I know it's painful to have to acknowledge something, but do you know it's actually more painful when you don't acknowledge it? Just a thought. Just a thought.
Now, as we saw earlier, that sure did appear to be exactly what had happened. This voicemail is being recorded solely for legal purposes and can be subpoenaed to court if necessary. And that wasn't over 10 years ago. Specifically, the voicemail was about 9 years. You also talked about him again in 2019, and you still seem to be defending him more recently, so...
Yeah. As far as I am aware, as far as my knowledge goes, my ex, Matt, has not been with anyone under the age of 16 or 17.
Why are we lying? Because you're embarrassed? It's more embarrassing that you're lying about this right now. And we know you're lying about this. And that's even more embarrassing than you admitting and saying you understand and you know and it's wrong. The fuck? The fuck?
Okay. It's still not great.
Yeah, we know that, girl. But
if we could, like, stop the narrative of, like, diddling, like, elementary school kids, that would be phenomenal. And
oh, so no, it's fine that he diddled middle schoolers, right? Because that makes such a difference.
if we could stop confusing him with Eli, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, like that makes
Y'all
it
can
any
take
better.
this to your little like hate groups and like
Actually, I don't think diddling anybody is good for that matter.
I don't know, tell people that would be phenomenal. Super. Thank you.
It's actually crazy to me that she sees all of these people, these haters, this criticism as hate groups, even though it's been concentrated groups that at some occasions had nothing to do with her.
He only diddles teenagers, not elementary kids, is a wild statement. Yeah, it's like how are you saying that and like you yourself don't recognize these words that are coming out of your mouth right now? Cuz I think what she wants to do is justify it to herself so she doesn't personally feel like a bad person. But that makes it worse. Like now you are actively showing everybody how much of a bad person you are. Like
And she still called them the Matt hate group. I'm seeing a pattern. Also, this looks like obfuscation, adding in that people are confusing Eli and Matt in comparison to her defense of Matt hurting children. No one's confusing that. There are articles and court documents, not to mention you've talked about it on multiple occasions. See, this kind of rhetoric can minimize the severity of alleged crimes. One hater sends her a DM. Having inappropriate relations with a 16 or 17-year-old as an adult, especially with over a 2-year age gap, is diddling kids. Come on now. 16 or 17-year-olds cannot consent. They haven't learned anything about what consent really is. To which she says, I'm not saying it's not, but people are coming at me like he's blanked 24-year-olds.
do you hear this? I'm not saying it's not bad, but people are acting like he serially assaulted 4-year-olds. Oh, so that's what it takes. Is that what it takes? Cinnabunny? Dana? Wow.
Jesus Christ. The hater goes on to say, do you think it's important to distinguish age in CSA? I don't think one is worse than the other. Prepubescent, postpubescent is still CSA. One is not more okay than the other.
Guys, I ate a magical beanstalk and my hair grew. And now I have long hair. No, they're not extensions. I don't know what you're talking about.
And you should know that by making it seem like there's a difference that you place value or importance in one type. Here's this strange hill I was talking about. Yes, I do think it's important to distinguish the age. ABUSC of a toddler looks different from the grooming of a teenager, and the legal and psychological responses may vary. That said, no matter the age, any CSA is unacceptable and should be treated seriously, but distinguishing age correctly.
So she's basically saying, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I don't know why you guys are acting like that. It's basically what she said.
Is important. Again, I grew up with these people and understand all angles of the controversy. The child's mother approved the relationship, and she should be held at fault just as much for child endangerment as well. It was a huge controversial issue when it happened in my hometown. But I'm a huge advocate for people not talking out of their effing asses and speaking on facts. They said, you said he didn't.
And this only happens because she believes that children can consent. So she thinks that it's not a big deal. Because she thinks that a 16-year-old can consent. Like this person in my YouTube chat said, this is what happens when you do things like that.
Diddle kids, but he did. To be clear, saying things of this nature downplays the seriousness, and then you say that people are overreacting essentially minimizes the severity.
She's underreacting. Yeah, telling people that they're overreacting to something like this is crazy business. Say that to somebody's face. Say that to somebody's face.
Instead of directly condemning it. That is not a hill that you want to die on.
It's really not.
It's that she's defending an adult who had an inappropriate relationship with a minor by downplaying the situation and shifting blame, arguing that distinguishing the ages of children in ABUSC cases being important and suggesting that because the child was older or the mother approved is somehow less serious can be, in his, harmful logic. We don't need a false hierarchy that minimizes trauma, but honestly I'm not surprised that you said that, because you said this. I see kids or children as like little kids. I see 16-year-olds as teen. All minors, but it feels weird to call a 16-year-old a child. That's the language I use. The hater says, a teenager is a child. She says, a teenager is a minor. Oh man, holy crap. You might call them a child, but I call them minors or teens. It doesn't matter your language because,
So you're acknowledging. What's funny about this is that she's acknowledging that she's like, well, I say this. It's not factual, so she knows. Like, that's not like an option. Like, a 16-year-old is a child. That is a child. That is a child. That is a child. Child, a child, child. That's a child.
the law in the United Nations, the United States of America, minors are children. Under the age of 18, children. The hater says, what's the point in distinction? They still have the same capacity to consent as, let's say, a 12-year-old. Meaning equals they don't. So, what's the point? She says language is nuanced. The hater says language is finite. They have universal definitions for a reason. The hater owned you. You got owned.
Did she basically just said we can agree to disagree on this? Is that what she is giving with this? Girl, this is a little weird. To be publicly acting like this is crazy. And then now that people are doing dissertations on you, now you're deleting stuff. That's
Owned by the hater. Legally and ethically, a 16-year-old is a child. A minor is a child. They can't legally or meaningfully consent. It's not nuanced. Why would you argue this? Why? Anyways, now we're gonna talk about this one. She posted this. It says,
oh my god, guys, listen to this fucking shit. This is the section that really sends me through a fucking loop, because like I don't understand how she's not understanding that a child can say yes to something, but that does not mean that they know what they're saying yes to at the end of the day. Therefore, he can't consent because he doesn't actually know what you're asking.
Here's the video that started the conversation on can a 7-year-old consent? But y'all know I posted this knowing it would ruffle all feathers, and it wasn't even my idea to film it. It was my tiny humans. Oh my god, I gotta take a break.
It's not my fault. It was my 7-year-old that wanted to do it.
My head hurts like right here in this area. I'm gonna take a break.
I was getting a headache from this.
Be right back.
Oh my god.
So,
Like, I don't even understand like where this logic would come from, but I think she's thinking like this because she's personally embarrassed and she doesn't want to seem wrong. But what it is that it's okay to be wrong, and you are human when you are wrong, and you are human when you admit that you are wrong. When you hold on to it and act like you did nothing wrong, that is why people go at you. Just let it go. Don't even know why we're standing on this hill right now.
you want us to believe that you're just rage baiting after everything we
She's
just
not
did.
rage baiting.
You're
She's just
actually
saying that.
Can a 7-year-old consent? And then at the end you say it wasn't your idea to film it. It was your tiny humans. Do you not see that you're actively exposing yourself? And do you really think it's possible for a 7-year-old to consent? One hater saying this child has no idea what consent is. She's just saying the script you gave her.
Think that kids your age understand consent?
I don't really know.
She's asking a 7-year-old. Can kids your age understand consent? I don't know.
It has to be the type of the child. Like, if a 7-year-old
The what?
understands and the parents, like, want to teach them early, like,
About what?
I get it, but, like, if they don't and they're under 7,
So this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo from a 7-year-old, and then she responds with,
maybe. I don't know.
So it just depends on the maturity of the kid.
she says, so it just depends on the maturity of the kid. Babes, she actually didn't say that, and I don't even think she understands what the word maturity is. I don't even think she understands what you just said. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she's just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And it depends on what the parent wants to do with the kid.
So basically, your parent is not like your parent can't sign you over to someone and say it's because they consented to it. That doesn't work either. Just because, oh, my mom said it was okay, that
Teach them earlier, or teach them in life.
Yeah. But we taught you really early what consent meant. Yep.
I was a 7-year-old.
Jesus Christ, children can't consent to be filmed. Involving them in personal drama is weird. One hater saying, her saying I'm just a 7-year-old is so sad. It really was.
Tiny Human, can I
well, this lady pisses me off.
ask you a question? And is it okay if I record it and put it on my social media?
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember Mommy's friend Maze? We're not friends anymore, but she was friends with Mommy and
Imagine being like 30 and having better judgment and thinking that your 7-year-old who does not have any life experience knows really what they're doing. You're kind of exploiting your child.
Gabby.
Yeah.
And she had a daughter that was your age that used to come over here and hang out with you.
Yeah.
When she came over and hung out with you, what did you guys used to do?
We would.
Also, I'm playing this because I want to see what she said in response to these people making this. Right? So I'm playing this so we can understand what actually happened, and then let's see what she says in response to this. Oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, you're making it seem worse than it is. Some shit like that, right?
Play on the pool, or go into the pool, random toy box, or the
Play on the pole? I'm sorry? Your 7-year-old said what?
kitchen.
You would play on the pole, go out in the pool.
If it was out there.
Yeah, the little blow up pool we used to have. Or you would play in your play kitchen. Okay.
Her pole isn't clean and sanitized, and also has had random strangers naked on it.
Cool. Just wanted to ask.
Somehow this is all about to get more questionable.
I don't even know how that happens.
Did you hear her say something about playing on the pole? This is a child on a pole, an X-pole, in a room that she's not supposed to be in. As you can see, I've had to blur several inappropriate things here as well. Apparently these photos were posted by Dana herself, who denies that these were posted by her, but also acknowledges they were. One hater saying, how can you want to keep your kid off social media yet post photos of her on a pole? Dana saying, the photo was posted on a friends and family only account. I only post her on a friends and family only account, as do most parents.
Hey, so you guys weren't supposed to know about that, so it didn't happen. So I didn't post that for you guys, and you guys weren't supposed to see that, so you weren't supposed to know that I did that. So I actually don't do that, and I didn't post it for you, so that's not true.
You posted her on social media. That is the criticism. You posted her on social media. Apparently CPS was called. Dana posts saying, here's the thing, the internet doesn't need to know everything about my life. I can and will keep things to myself, but unfortunately, when you've got a hate group constantly trying to spin a narrative, sometimes the truth comes out. It doesn't always come out directly from me, and things look messy. So let's clear this up. CPS came to my house once in December 2023. After the We're Polly, my kid has 6 adult caretakers video went mega viral in the millions. And they said that...
I'm sorry?
In the millions. And they said they were called to her home to question if 4 couples, 8 adults, were living in the home. While in the home, they asked to tour it, to make sure we had essentials and ask our daughter some questions. And they left. That was the end of it. They said my kid she says that was the end of it and then goes on to explain more of it. They said my kid is restricted from 2 areas. The red room, obviously, we all know what that room is for, and she has always been restricted from this space.
Yeah, my red room. It also gets worse, by the way. On top of her acting like this, she also decides to do spicy work. So it actually ends up getting a million times worse. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Space. What about the pictures that you posted? She's always been restricted from this space and the downstairs living room unless I remove certain pieces of artwork that is aggressively obscene in nature. That's it. So I'm replacing and moving the obscene artwork into the bedroom where it belongs and life goes on. You know what they didn't have an issue with? My personal bedroom. That means yes, even with the giant banana painting hanging on the wall and my toy shelf, it was a non-issue. I don't understand why you think that is what. This is not the criticism. Honestly, it was just easier to say my kid doesn't come in my room because I knew the internet would be up in arms about yet another parenting choice of mine. But that's the thing. The internet doesn't need to know everything about me. Unfortunately, this was a truth that got out anyway. And it sucked that it didn't come from me first. But oh well, oh well. So,
I lied and you guys found out.
wait a minute. You say here that you don't tell the truth. And you say up here you're not going to tell the truth. And you know what? I do agree that you don't owe
Thank you.
your whole life to the internet. You seem to tell your whole life to the internet. Like, did you really have to say that you wasn't going to tell the truth? Also, if you've made it this far in the video and you're enjoying, consider smashing that subscribe button. Thank you. People can gossip, spread rumors, and try to vilify me, but facts are facts. If you're going to talk about me, at least get the truth straight. My kid is safe, my parenting is solid, and my home, while a little unconventional, is exactly that, my home. It seems to me that you're the one putting all this stuff out here. That's just, you know, an observation. Statement 2. I want to address recent claims regarding the art in my home and clarify my stance as a parent. First, my child is not allowed in spaces within the home that could be considered for grown-ups. That has been the case since late December 2023 following the visit from CPS due to an anonymous report about concerns regarding certain inappropriate items and artwork.
Oh, my kid's only not allowed in my adult space that's for adults only because somebody found out that I let them in there. So now that I was found out, now I have to make sure that my kid doesn't go in the adult space that's made for adults that's not for kids because it's for adults.
The agreement was made at the time and it was clear. I would either cover or remove certain artwork or ensure my child no longer has access to those spaces. I chose the latter, and my child has not entered those areas since. So just so I understand, the kid isn't allowed in there anymore. That's good.
Because she was caught.
But I'm a little uneasy since you shared with us that you also withhold information and don't tell the truth about these specific things. So, specifically going in the space that they're not supposed to be in. Why do you say these things? It like, are you rage baiting? Am I being
I think
rage
she's-
baited? This next poll.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really think she's rage baiting. I think she's actually just genuinely fucking stupid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think a lot of these people are rage baiting half the time, guys. I'm gonna be serious with you. I think these people are genuinely fucking stupid. Like, I'm not even gonna cap. Like, I don't think they're smart enough to be rage baiting. I'm gonna be honest.
There's a doozy. She has group parties where people get together and film content. A lot of people come. Strangers. At her house while her child is there.
They just later say that they're rage baiting because it's an easy way out. But I'm pretty sure they were dead ass.
Strangers. Same house. Here's her talking to the group. Cinnabunny Slumber Party January. Some new people have been added to the...
Oh, now listen to this. She's a spicy worker, right? And she decided to have a collab at her house where her child is present.
group, so I wanted to repost the situation in house rules. Oh, buddy, these house rules. Okay, most of you...
So, like, we were already here. It's already bad. We're up here. Now we're just through the roof with how bad this is getting.
All been here before, but there's a few new faces, so a little backstory and some house rules. We live in a split-level house, and downstairs is a whole setup for content. There's a living room, a small kitchenette, a full-size bathroom, and bedroom. Y'all will have free, full range of downstairs. Upstairs is my family space. You're welcome to be upstairs, but why? You're welcome to be upstairs, but be dressed appropriately. Eli and I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she will be home. Additionally, my mother lives with us, and she is terminally ill with stage 4 lung cancer. Oh my God. My mother knows what we do for work and is supportive and aware that we need to host these collaborations for safety of people in our community and to literally keep the roof over our head. My daughter, at an age-appropriate level, also understands what we do for work. You what? Did you just...
You what?
What? My daughter at an age appropriate level also understands what we do for work, and we have hosted a few collabs downstairs before, and she is very aware when mommy and daddy are working downstairs, she's absolutely not allowed downstairs whatsoever.
She's traumatizing the fuck out of this child. If I had to grow up like this, oh my god. I feel so bad for this kid. Like, she's like introducing her child to things, and she's just in a terrible way. And this kid, God bless her, if she still loves her when she's older, but...
And then there's a little emphasis off to the side. What I mean by she knows what we do at an age appropriate level is my little one knows mommy is a photographer and takes pictures of other people, and we make TikToks together.
Hey, if you told your kid that you're a photographer and you're doing photo shoots, why did you have to say age appropriate level? Why were you vague about that? Why didn't you just say we told my 5-year-old that we're photographers and she can't come in because she'll mess up the pictures? Why didn't you just say that? Why not get a hotel or Airbnb either? I was actually going to say that, but then I know her excuse is probably like, oh, well then why do I have a house?
Okay, so here's my question. If it's just that you take photos and TikToks, why did you feel it necessary to say, my daughter at an age appropriate level also understands what we do for work?
Yeah,
I
like
am aware
weirdo.
This is a unique situation and wouldn't generally be ideal, but we have no other family in the local area, and we feel comfortable opening our home up still regardless because of our unique split level home, and if you have to ask any questions, feel free. We are doing this on weekdays.
She said unique split level home. Mind you, it's just a second floor. There's no real separation. There's a staircase and there's an upstairs.
Specifically because flights are a little bit cheaper, but also because my daughter is in school weekdays, and that buys us more time to be loud and obnoxious and do whatever. My God, what am I reading? No inappropriate stuff upstairs at any time. Do not get my couches wet. They are from the 1920s in velvet. Feel free to make reasonable content on them. Don't intentionally wipe your lube hands on them or anything. No smoking inside. We're, what is that, leaf friendly? In the garage or on the back porch. Vapes are fine inside and downstairs only. This next one is a specification of which room to go to while the kid is home. Between the hours of 4 and 8, when kiddo is home from school and before she goes to bed, I ask that all content is made in the red room and not the living room because noise carries differently. Content can be made in the living room late night, but during the day, but not just between 4 hours. If you're driving, we have, oh man.
Does she think her kid has an off button? When her kid goes to bed, you think your kid can't hear or understand anything that's happening? She just turns off like a little robot? That's what you think?
You said noise carries, and you said they can go back in the living room at late night. That's when your daughter's sleeping. If you're driving, we have plenty of street parking available. If you're flying, please fly into the Nashville airport, airport code BNA. This is me and Eli's home. Please just treat our home with respect. No drama with other creators. I will ask you to leave on your dime. We have a home liquor bar in our creative space. We are more than happy to share, but do not want to be ransacked. Help yourself, but if you drink, our Venmo and Cash App listed on the bar. Reimburse us for what you use. Also, we're making some...
Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. Can I tell you something that I think? You know how I do my work, right? I do spicy work. I personally believe that if she is saying all of this information in a Twitter group chat, that means that there are people that she doesn't know and strangers. If you are doing a collab, fine. You're inviting people to your house, fine. You better know those people well enough that you've made contact with them, said hi and hello, and know stuff about them. This is a big group chat. So you're basically letting strangers in your house where your child and your mother are at. I know you don't know these fucking people, because this is not how you act if you know these people. That's not how you act. So this is bullshit.
Corn, y'all. That's the point of the collab. Please get tested soon before you come, but not too soon that you're waiting on test results while you're here. Schedule a test, and if you gotta practice abstinence for a few days before the collab, please do. Let's all take this professionally and seriously. I am aware that some people...
Babes, if you come to a collab, if you get tested, you show me your test results, and then you tell me you were with so-and-so before you got here, you are not working with me. That is disrespectful. That's how I know that she doesn't take this shit seriously. She's like, let's be professional about this. Girl is going about the most unprofessional fucking way to do this shit that I've ever seen in my life. Oh, let's be professional. Are you fucking joking? Like, this is a joke. This is, like, embarrassing. This is, like, severely embarrassing.
People in the group have HSV1
And also severely unsafe.
or HSV2. It is not my place to out y'all, but I expect everyone to be open and honest about their test results.
Yeah. My granny's on the deathbed and my kid's downstairs, but let's have a freak off, guys. Yeah.
You have people with STDs at your parties? Oh my god. And she 100% has these strangers around her child because she posted about it. The juxtaposition of posting a corn collab and then having some of the talent sit down and eat dinner with my mom and kid. I want my collaborators to reel me but also be boyfriend material. That is peak degeneracy. One hater alleges most...
I promise you she's probably has not had a full conversation with every single one of those people that have shown up. And she doesn't know them personally. I will be honest with you, if I am doing a collab of 20 people at my house, yeah, I'm gonna have met all of you. I know exactly who all of you are. Yeah. She probably said hi and bye, and she was like, oh, they're cool. You're lucky. You're lucky nothing happened. You're lucky. Really, 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 really lucky. Really lucky. Because people... You're giving them the chance.
Credible porn stars wouldn't show up to a house of a terminally ill woman to shoot corn for days on end, especially not with a 5-year-old present. And certainly not with people who have non-curable illnesses that the host is refusing to disclose for everyone's safety. Dana did respond to this saying,
Disgusting.
To address concerns about
Disgusting.
activities and my child.
Yeah, like you said, any credible internet person that does this stuff would not go do that. And
Specifically, the flight between me and my husband. So let's address this
Where the fuck is my makeup?
obsession with what my husband and I do behind closed doors and the completely unfounded concern that my child is somehow exposed to it. First of all,
you've literally yourself told us that your child is exposed.
normal parents have when their kids are home. This should not be a shocking revelation to you.
See, I don't know nothing about this guy. I don't have no fucking kids, but I'm saying, growing up, I've never experienced my parents doing anything. Nothing. So they were either real quiet about it, or they weren't doing it when the children were in the house, as it should be. So you're saying just because your kid's asleep, you're gonna go at it? Full volume?
Kids go to sleep, parents engage in activities, and life.
Yeah, have you ever seen the stories of people saying when they were a little kid they got up because they heard noises and they go and they peek and they get traumatized? That's basically what you're doing. That's the scenario that she's creating.
goes on. The difference is that
Oh, my phone's at 1%. Hold on. It's probably gonna die.
when we're partaking in activities that might be louder or more involved, or we take deliberate precautions to ensure privacy and keep things entirely separate from our child. When we engage in these
My phone's so gonna die.
we go downstairs into our red room, which was intentionally designed for this purpose. Let me make this crystal clear. The red room is not just a spare corner of our home. It is a space built with privacy and soundproofing in mind. It's not just behind one door between the room and the rest of the house.
I hate how she's explaining this because she sounds condescending and like she's saying something to like somebody stupid that doesn't understand anything. But we've literally seen pictures of your kid with the pole, and we've literally heard from you that. So at this point, it's like, what are you talking about?
It's behind 2 doors.
That are obviously just for show.
Both of those doors are lockable. So the idea that my child could accidentally stumble in or hear anything is pure fiction.
She doesn't really gaff about her kid. She really doesn't. Because if you cared about your kid, you wouldn't be doing shit like this in front of them.
For those asking, what if she needs you in the middle of the night? I've already thought of that too. For starters, I always have my phone on me, and I'm always wearing my Apple Watch. And she knows how to text me if she needs me for anything. On top of that, every room in our home, including our red room, is equipped with an Echo Dot device set up with intercom communications. We had these installed in every single room in our home when I was taking care of my mom with cancer in case she needed us, and they've continued to be a very nice accessory to our house. My daughter can reach me instantly if something comes up, and I can respond without hesitation. Let me emphasize this for the people in the back. There is no way for my child to hear anything that happens in this room. When Eli is in
Have you tested it?
here with other people, the rest of the house is silent, I can stand upstairs and not hear anything.
Did you test it with screaming at your full volume though?
I've stood in every possible location of upstairs to ensure that there is no sound leakage, and there isn't. The same goes for when I'm down here with someone else. It's just private. It's practically its own soundproof world. These concerns
While the thought of this is good, the execution is fucking horrible.
are nothing more than baseless speculation from people who clearly don't understand how responsible parents operate.
I just choked. Doesn't understand how responsible parents operate. Baby, all the responsible parents are telling you that is not how we operate, girl.
I protect
That is not how no fucking... Oh, girl. She's tweaking. She's fucking tweaking.
child's innocence and her boundaries, and I take her well-being seriously in every aspect of my life. This hyperfixation on my personal life is absurd and says far more about the people perpetuating these rumors than it does about me or my parenting.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are going to give people incriminating information about yourself, I think it's well in their right to say some shit to you.
She's trying to make it seem like having relations at home is normal, but that's not the issue. The concern is she's alleged to be hosting intimate parties with multiple strangers in the same home with her child. That's not about private relationships, that's about repeatedly exposing your child to risky, inappropriate environments.
Dude, I'm looking for my fucking makeup palette and I like lost it. Why do I keep fucking losing everything? Like, can't find shit today.
And trying to downplay it by framing it as normal would be deeply irresponsible. She claims she's being responsible by using soundproof red room for intimate parties, but that's bad logic. Physical barriers don't erase the fact that she's bringing multiple strangers into the same home where her child lives. It's not just about noise or doors, it's about exposing a child to chaotic, unsafe environments. Responsible parenting isn't just about keeping things hidden, it's making sure they don't happen in the child's space at all. And the other thing is she's talking about the red room
Bingo.
being soundproof, but she makes it seem like it's the entire room when she clearly said herself not to make content in the living room because noise carries. Noise carries. And then you say when she goes to bed, content can be made in the living room while she's sleeping, where noise carries. You said that. This is your words. She argues keeping her phone on her and installing Echo Dots in every room, including the red room, ensures the child can always reach her.
I wonder if she has peanuts in her head. She thinks it's like peanuts with like worms, or she has like a rotting apple in place of a brain or something like that.
But that's dangerously flawed logic. tech devices aren't a substitute for active parenting, especially when she's hosting intimate parties.
Oh yeah, she's such a safe parent. Such a safe, responsible parent. She's so responsible and safe.
With strangers in the same house. Leaving a child alone upstairs while engaging in these type of activities downstairs doesn't become safe just because Alexa can hear them. It highlights a complete lack of appropriate boundaries and judgment. Haters have said for multiple reasons that you are the last person that they would take parenting advice from. One of these reasons is because you keep exposing your daughter's name to the internet. So it's alleged that she doxed herself here and her...
Oh my god, she exposed her daughter's name. I'm sorry. Echo Dots have a listen in function that can flaw bad. Dude, it's ridiculous, like, the stuff that she's trying to, like, pass off, and then at the same time call herself a responsible parent. Is like, these people are so delusional. I just don't understand how you can be so delusional and bring a child into it, and you're just swinging this child around and you don't even notice or care because you don't think it's that bad. You're 30. That child, that child's first experience here. You're giving this child this first experience, and it's a bad one. Because that kid's gonna go somewhere else. They're gonna be like, hey, my house isn't like this. You know, I had to learn the hard way that my family wasn't normal and the same as everybody else. My house, hoarder house, disgusting. Feral animals, disgusting. I went to somebody else's house and I said, hey, their house doesn't look like mine. Is there something wrong? I didn't know that something was wrong. Because I grew up in that. Do we understand? That this child may not understand what is wrong until she gets older, and that, or when she sees something normal and realizes, hey, this is not how this is supposed to be. How do you think I figured it out? I saw other people and I said, hey, my parents aren't acting like this. My house doesn't look like that. I think this is bad.
Her own story, this white part
Can't imagine having multiple strangers fucking running in inside of the house.
is where the alleged dress was. It's censored out. Here in a story...
Okay, guys, can you give me like 1 second? I need to go grab a makeup palette because I want to put blush on, and I don't know where my makeup palette is. I'm gonna run, okay? You give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna run really fast, okay? Wait, you can't see that. I just burped.
She says my daughter's first name is blank. It just feels weird.
I burped again, sorry.
Way to make it so available to the internet. And even worse is this hypocrisy. She posts to say something maybe a little silly that bothers me is when
No, you have to listen to this shit that she said. If you haven't really been paying attention, listen to this fucking shit that she says and what she does next. Because this is diabolical.
Even worse is this hypocrisy. She posts to saying something maybe a little silly that bothers me is when porn stars have their kids' names and birthdays tattooed on them in obvious spots that are very legible. I get it, you probably got that tattoo before when you were not in the industry, but put makeup over it for your scenes. If you know you shouldn't show your kid's face for safety reasons when you're in the industry, cover their names too. This is also an easy way to get yourself doxxed. I'm just saying.
I feel like she thinks that her saying this absolves her from the fact that she already did this.
I don't know. Maybe this is a hot take. I also found what appears to be a hypocritical post. It doesn't make any logical sense and resembles to me what seems like delusion.
Adult corn farming industry, and because of that, I don't show my child on social media. I always refer to her as Tiny Human. I don't really give a lot of details about her. You know, they
Oh girl, you've given more than enough details.
don't post her face. And that is because kids and corn farming do not go together. The hot take that I had.
That's why she promotes her adult work on the same page that she apparently posted her kid playing with the pole, and there were comments of people sexualizing that. But because she says it's not sexual, it's cool. And because, you know, I said that people should keep their things separate, you know, that means that I do it and you don't have to fact check me, right?
Is
She's like deadass just mad that she's getting fact checked, that she can't lie about everything.
having their kid's full name and sometimes even their birthday, like in Roman numerals or something like that, tattooed to them, like in very visible places. And I'm out here by my full government name. I have long doxed myself. I wrote
That's not a good thing to remind people of. To be honest with you, nobody knows that, and nobody knows it until you say it, and you just said it. So I just don't think that's a very wise thing to be reminding people of.
the book. I wrote it under my government name. Like, my government name is really easily accessible. But for most people in the
Even if it is, I just think it's really not good to mention if you're worried.
adult industry, their government name is hidden for privacy, for secrecy, for safety. But if you have your child's full government name tattooed across your chest with their birthday in Roman numerals,
And she's being so specific too. I know she's seriously talking about somebody. Why doesn't she just say it? Like, she's like sub posting about someone.
what are you doing? And I understand that you probably have that tattoo like before you got into the industry, but if you're not gonna put your child's face on social media, then you shouldn't put their full government name in your adult work. You can go out, buy good foundation, cover it up.
Yeah, guys, you can do whatever you want as long as you hide it. Just do it, but just hide it. That's what I do. I hide everything, and everything that you see it's a lie and it's not true.
For your scenes. Like I said, I know that maybe this is a hot take and
It is a
maybe
hot
that's lot
take.
of work, but if you don't want to be doxxed and you want to keep your kids safe, especially when you're online as in a spicy entertainer, try your hardest to protect your kids in every aspect possible. I don't know.
She actually did this very thing and blamed the haters for outing her daughter's name, even though she's been giving out the birth date and public information for the last at least 6 years. So this is her, and she's got her daughter's first name tatted exactly where she was just criticizing. I've blurred it here. Says, well, anyways, I guess I couldn't call her Tiny Human forever, but thanks for ruining that for me before I was ready to do it for myself at my own speed. What are you talking about? You have publicly put her name. How do you think people knew her name in the first place? One hater alleging her daughter's name and pictures were publicly posted on Facebook months ago.
She's basically like, oh, well, I didn't intend that for you to see. I didn't mean for you to see that, so I didn't post it for you, so therefore I didn't post it because you weren't supposed to see that. So I didn't do it. Because that wasn't for you and you weren't supposed to see that.
To mention that she posted the tattoo, albeit to her close friend's story, but posted by Dana nonetheless. She put her daughters out there, not us. This has no sense of accountability. And when she was asked about this, she simply said she changed her mind. What happened to blurring your daughter's name tattoo when you do SW? She said, changed my mind. Everywhere I look with this talk...
I'm sorry? I'm sorry? Changed my mind.
Logical and fallacious rhetoric. Here she says that a name change is $10,000. For example, she says, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I do not. A lot of people reclaim names and words. For example, the word, the Q-U-E-E-R word used to be a slur, and now it's used in joy by the LGBT community. My maiden name also has traumatic ties to it, so there's no point in spending money on going back to that. A name is a name, and I feel like I've reclaimed it and made it my own. $10,000 on a name change? That's better spent elsewhere. Number one, that's not true at all.
Yeah, you know where that 10K would be better spent? On her dental journey.
A name change is significantly cheaper. In Tennessee, the cost to change your name through the court system typically ranges from $166.50.
I don't think anybody mentions it, but if you go look at her page, it's crazy.
It's to $200.
And I have like a super insane obsession with my teeth. I have an obsession with teeth. I have an obsession with my teeth specifically. If they're not clean and they don't look like this, I'm gonna actually rip my fucking hair out. So her teeth made my skin crawl. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't even sugarcoat that.
$43.50, depending on the county and whether you're changing your name in person or virtually. And number 2, that analogy isn't true at all.
Also, hi, Rudy.
That name was reclaimed by an oppressed group. The name isn't a slur, it's a personal identity. False equivalences can equal manipulation, especially if somebody's trying to apply the emotional weight of a civil rights struggle to their personal narrative. But there appears to be more. Again, had to blur her daughter's name, but she posted saying, "Hi, FAGS." Okay, no, but seriously, let's have a quick chat about marginalized people reclaiming slurs. Just like she was trying to reclaim the word QUEER, she tries to do it with the word FAG. One hater saying, "While I agree that we should reclaim words that used to hurt us, that's not what you did. You in fact used a slur against people that made you mad. It's not reclaiming if you're using it to hurt others." She says, "You're right. I can own that, and I used the word FAG as a way to call out people who have been rude or hurtful towards me. In the heat of the moment, I didn't think about the full impact, and I can see how that might be different from reclaiming it in a way that empowers. I also used Reddit FAG, because it's a term that gets thrown around on Reddit when people get frustrated with others beyond just me. I appreciate you calling me out, and I'm always open to learning more about how we use language responsibly while still owning our identities. Thanks for the perspective." But this is how she was defending herself. This is a pinned comment. Says also to add, in other parts of the world, FAG just means cigarette, and FAGGOTS are...
That's their favorite thing to say. "Oh, it just means cigarette. I don't know what you're talking about. In other parts of the world, it means something else." Okay? But which part of the world are we in right now? And I know that's not how you meant to say it. So maybe let's be a little dead ass here.
literally meatballs. Like, you could be in the UK asking for FAGGOTS and peas at a pub.
No, because they don't say the full word. A cigarette is not the full word. I'm sorry? Do you even know what you're saying right now? Imagine being so confident saying something and literally you don't even know what you're talking about.
And no one would blink. Heck, FAGGOTS even get a shout out in the Christmas music. Language is wild, and context is everything. And I guess she forgets on social media that people from the UK exist. Actually, as someone who lives in the UK, a lot of people don't like people saying that for cigarettes or meatballs, smiley face. Also, the meatballs are disgusting and not popular nowadays. Anyways, anyone with common decency says cigarette, not the word you mentioned. Just don't want people thinking everyone in the UK is accepting of this. One hater says, what does she know about what people commonly say in the UK? She's never left the US. I live in the UK, and no one uses that word to mean meatballs here. And to me, it was a priori, common sense, but that's just me. She goes on to say, very interesting. I love learning. Is it a specific type of meatball that got the name, or just any old meatball? Language is silly. Come on, guys. Come on. It's like this is like, you can see through this. One hater alleges, hey, so let's work on how we were outed as a groomer and forced younger girls to do weird favors for your OF or for your husband.
I'm sorry, what?
Completely icky. Also, don't delete this comment, but address it, because it's very weird to see people in my community do things and give terrible representation of us. She responds saying, every single person I've worked with on OF was a pre-established SW worker prior to me. Other than my one ex, most of them in the same range as me by a year or two, and a majority of them older than me, so I really don't understand where this narrative started. Every single video I have ever made is still up. That's actually not true, because she's had to remove videos and content because the exes asked her to, which she still tried to sell. If you wanted to go fact check this, you can message the
That's a big fat no-no. The biggest, fattest no-no.
people I have worked with and question their age differences to me. Never once has my content been a product of grooming, coercion, or force. Demanded that I don't delete your comment but address this on my page is wild, because what gives you the audacity to dictate how my page is managed? It seems like you read something online and immediately believe it without being willing to hear both sides to a story. This is what I'm talking about by these being like strange hills to climb. One hater posted on Reddit, stop profiting off your exes, Dana. Gabby previously requested you to remove all videos of them on OF and MF, and she had asked you repeatedly and also report you repeatedly to get these videos down. It is absolutely abhorrent that you're still marketing off.
Wow. Wow, so the person has asked her multiple times and she's also reported it and she still hasn't taken it down. Is this a joke? Does she think everybody is like stupid? Because like how do you just act like this wholeheartedly to people? It's like crazy. I
Off someone who doesn't consent to being shared anymore. Gabby is out of the SW industry. They wish not to have their bodies shared amongst people now. This is genuinely one of the lowest things. And as far as I'm concerned, Nani also does not associate themselves with you anymore. Stop sharing the corn you made with people who don't associate with you anymore just because they're more attractive than you are. We have some anecdotes later from
tea.
Gabby. And it says, I took down all my videos with my ex from when I was in a throuple. But if you would like to buy them, I can send them to you in a folder for $60. I also took down all the videos with my former submissive Nani. And if you would like to buy a bundle of those, it's also $60. If you'd like to buy both bundles, it's $100 sale. Save $20 when you buy both. Lord almighty. And her response to this also appeared to be illogical. Dana posted on her,
Is this a joke?
oh, if it looks like, hi, I was previously in the past 2 months offering sales of content no longer publicly available on this site, as I was operating off the knowledge that I was allowed to sell it PPV off-site, as long as it wasn't posted on-site.
Hey, just to let you guys know, not saying something isn't confirmation for you to do it. Just letting you know, if I know she knew what she was doing, but I've had people message me and be like, oh, I specifically don't want my stuff on this website anymore, but you can post it elsewhere. I've had people say that to me, but we know that that was not said to her, so that person wanted their stuff removed, period. And she's over here like, yeah, I've removed it, but if you still want it, you can buy it for $60. Excuse me? You... This is sickening. Diabolically sickening, disgustingly diabolical and sickening.
So somebody went to her and said they no longer want her selling the content on her site, and she assumed that meant she could sell it off-site. That's what she's saying.
Thank
Today
you.
it was brought to my attention that the consent involved in this selling of old content among all parties involved has changed. The end of an era! Sorry to disappoint, but if you'd like to see old content that is no longer available here on this account, it is just retired and no longer available for sale. I will personally be deleting the content from my own hard drive out of respect for people involved who have retired from SW and changed their consent.
Hey, baby, that's what they did originally, and that's what you should have done originally. But like everything else, because you were caught, you decided to do something about it. Because she was caught. Oh, she was caught. You weren't supposed to see that, but since I was caught, I guess I'll do it now.
Will no longer be able to have access to this content from me. I will personally be deleting content from my own hard drive out of respect for the people involved that have retired from SW and changed their consent. You will no longer be able to access content of me with people whom
Thank
are
you.
ex-friends or
I know, James is probably like sleeping or something.
ex-partners out of respect for them. And as respect for my personal mental health space, thank you for understanding. One hater alleging, once again, only doing the right thing because they were blasted publicly online, not because it was just the right thing to do. Another alleging, yep, she's literally only doing this because she got caught. She had no issue with it when G and N repeatedly told her they weren't comfortable anymore, and had no issue when she thought she could sneakily make a quick buck through a DM. I have no respect for Dana, for real. Now we're gonna go over what seems to be bad logic and hypocritical statements from Dana. Here she's saying, as for Nani, I have already removed her content as requested and she will not be mentioned again. I respect her wishes. We're still friends and we texted this morning about this very issue on what her boundaries were on selling content to make sure I was understanding correctly.
Thank you.
At this point, I consider the matter closed. I have done what was asked of me. Despite the lack of direct communication, I will not engage further back and forth about an issue that has already been resolved. I want to be clear that I cannot be held legally liable when there was no direct communication to me revoking consent or requesting the removal of content. I was not...
Babes. If it wasn't directly communicated to you, you automatically assumed that you could do that. The automatic assumption would be that they don't want it anywhere. And you ask if you could post it elsewhere. Like,
Acting out of malice. I was acting based on the information available to me at the time.
before I post anything publicly on different sites, I ask the person. Wow, what a concept, right? If I have something on one website and I want to post it on another, I ask them if I can do that. Wow. Wow, what a concept. Asking people for consent with things that show their entire body. Wow, that's so crazy.
Had I been directly informed that Gabby no longer wanted the content sold, I would have immediately honored the request, just as I did once it was brought to my attention. It's strange for her to say that when she said this also. You can withdraw consent. Someone can always withdraw consent. You can't claim that getting consent in the first place meant you were allowed to do anything you want. This is not the hot take you think it is. You can revoke consent to share your body with someone if you end up not vibing well. In pleasure and in business, clear communication goes a long way. And intentionally have boundaries around who I do and don't vibe with as a preventative. Well, that's strange that she said this because she was also behind the scenes saying that one thing. Here she's saying, just a little salty that 6 months ago, I was asking him to collab with me, and he straight up turned me down because he viewed me as a bro friend.
Oh, so now we're acting entitled to people's bodies? That's so crazy, girl. Definitely, maybe you should keep that to yourself.
And now he's trying to collaborate with people. I'm not trying to sound like I'm not humble, but my following for what I do would have helped him immensely, and it's just
If we really want to look at her numbers, okay, let's say my numbers aren't good right now, right? My numbers mediocre. But if we want to talk about her numbers and saying that somebody would benefit off of her so they should have worked with her, that's like not even true because her numbers are trash. Sure, you have 90K, but that doesn't even really mean anything. I'll be honest with you. It really means shit nowadays.
kind of garbage that he gives himself the label of SW, but doesn't put the work in SW because he wouldn't have blank with me because we were friends when I wasn't viewing it as a intimate encounter.
Regardless, if you say work or not, it is still an intimate encounter. And I have not filmed with people for that exact reason, where you're my friend and I don't want to do that with you. That is completely okay, and that is completely within your boundaries. And if somebody says something like this, they are fucking disgusting, and you should be a million miles away from them and block them.
I was viewing it as work collaboration. They respond, maybe he's looking for something specifically with people he feels comfortable doing that type of work with. Dana says, I kind of want to respond to it and be like, I'm still available, just to see what he says. Honestly, not that I'm even super interested anymore after his character development lately. If he's looking for something specific, he should state that what he's looking for. He should also feel comfortable doing SW with any workers that he has included in his close friend story. That's why they're on his close friend story to begin with.
So why are we acting entitled to people's bodies? One thing does not mean the other. Never does. And also, if your mentality is, oh, I do this and they do this and they're not working with me, that's really rude. That is very weird of you. I'm gonna be honest with you. That screams that you just wanted to smash this person and you are being the unprofessional one. The unprofessional one calling the professional person unprofessional is crazy. How are you acting like a little fucking snake and then calling them unprofessional? That's so fucking disgusting.
If he was picky,
And I've dealt with people like this before, mind you, so that's why I'm like, this is gross as fuck. This is my ballpark, girl. And you're in my ballpark acting like a fucking idiot.
only working with select people, the reality is that he already has those people picked out in
Oh my god, blinker checkpoint though? I think it's called for a blinker checkpoint.
his mind, and he should just reach out to them individually and professionally instead of fishing for responses on his story. Man, boys are dumb. One hater alleging, she comes off so desperate. I'm in town for 2 months. Left on red and salty about it.
It does sound extremely desperate, and the fact that it's desperate like that makes it unprofessional because you're not begging for work. You're begging for this person to have an intimate time with you, regardless if you're counting it as intimate or not. At the end of the day, it's still fucking intimate.
This literally just makes Dana look bad. She looks so predatory.
Like, she's so backwards and then has the audacity to label herself as like a professional. Oh, I do this professionally. This is my job. Babes. We can obviously see that it's not, babes. We can obviously tell that you don't actually give a fuck about what's going on. We can tell.
And whiny. Why won't you have blank with me? Frowny face. And just based on Dana's words here and Dana's words before, you can revoke
Ugh, people like her make my fucking skin crawl.
consent to share your body with someone if you're not vibing well in pleasure and in business. Clear communication goes a long way.
So listen to this. Publicly, she says that you can revoke consent and your body is your body and you don't have to do anything with anybody else that you don't want to. She says that publicly. But privately, she says the opposite. And once exposed, she's just like, oh, well, that wasn't meant for you to see. Huh?
And to me, that feels a little bit hypocritical on the logic. And then there's this.
She's just like, guys, let me be a liar in peace. Why won't you guys let me lie about stuff? That's basically what she's doing.
Delete your ex's inappropriate images. You no longer have their permission to look at their exposed body. She says that and then does this. Took down all my videos with my ex from when I was in a throuple. If you'd like to buy them, go ahead. They're $60. That's the logic. Looking straight at the logic.
I feel like if you disrespect people's bodies this much, you should not be in this kind of work because you are a menace and you are a predator and you are a threat. I'm gonna be honest with you. You are not, that is not it, girly. You are making a very scary, unsafe environment. Even if you feel like you're not doing that, if you have hundreds of thousands of people telling you that, it's not because they're hate watching you. It's because you're doing something really weird. And everybody's like, hey, can you stop doing that? And you're like, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. And we're like, hey, but we're watching you do something wrong. It's okay to admit that you're wrong also. I think what her point is that she doesn't want to admit that she's done wrong and bad things and just do better things. Like, she doesn't care. Like, that's how much she doesn't gaff. Like, she just doesn't care. Just like how I can relate this to, like, I've met people like her before that you can do whatever, you can say whatever, but they just, at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck. And you can't change them not giving a fuck.
It's not good. She did make a response to a lot of these things. She's made multiple responses to a lot of these things.
And just so you know, not giving a fuck that much, I personally think is pathetic. You should work harder with your life if you're going to be doing things like that and you're going to be exposing children to things like that. How do you think acting like that is okay? Like, weird? Excuse me? And she's like 30. Like 28 or 30 or something like that. Grown-ass woman.
But we're gonna go over this one. It's difficult.
Is it okay hanging out? Did I do or say something wrong? Just wondering if I did my bad. James, what are you talking about? You literally never do anything. It's so chill. What are you talking about?
To follow, I'll try to break it down best I can.
Hi, hello, it's me, Dana. Today,
And mind you, all of this we know straight from her. She is the one who's been saying all of this. And then when people put it all together, she's like, wait, that's not true. Babes, we have the receipts.
I wanted to talk about my personal life a little bit.
See, James, you're famous here. Everybody was waiting for you, James.
I wanted to start by saying that everyone has skeletons in their closet.
Everyone has skeletons in their closet? That's definitely an interesting way to phrase that. Off the bat. I'm just gonna say. Hey, just personally me, I think that's a little interesting way to phrase that off the bat.
But when you are a social media influencer, even a small one like me, that door kind of gets flung wide open, and suddenly people are pointing fingers like they've never made mistakes themselves.
You make a mistake, and then you say, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't realize, and I will do my best to be better in the future. Have you done that? No.
At this point, if you've heard something bad about me and choose to believe it, that's fine. I'm done trying to convince anyone otherwise at this point. The people who truly know me believe
That this attitude is how you know they did something wrong, but they don't want to admit to it. This is the exact attitude that somebody would have when they know that they're wrong and they don't want to admit to it. Because if you are like, oh, people make mistakes, okay, then say, I made a mistake. I'm sorry and I'm doing better. I'm trying to do better. What's so hard about that? What's wrong about that? Isn't that what admitting, like you just said, you people make mistakes, you make mistakes, you have skeletons in your closet. Okay. So like question mark?
me and support me and are here, and that's enough.
No. Are there other content creators she's similar to her at all? No, I think I personally I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it's just her. I'm not really sure though. I couldn't really give you further information on
It's not
that.
fun. If it was, a person wouldn't get on here and make a video like this.
I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes. There are some really bad stories out there, and some of them are true. Some of them are exaggerated, and some of them are completely false. Like,
Yeah, I did that thing, but like it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. They just explained it really bad.
it needs to be said that I've never gone to jail for anything. I've never been charged with anything, and I don't have any child neglect charges.
Girl, we know. They would have been found that. Hello?
So there's some pretty bad fallacies here. Number one is that just because somebody's not been arrested for anything or been charged with anything doesn't mean that they've not done anything wrong. It's a fallacious argument to say.
I hate that's even something that somebody would even say. I hate that that's a thought that somebody would have, because that doesn't make any sense. At least to me, none of this makes any sense. Like this is like empty words coming out of this. Like she's fucking got maggots in her brain.
Say that that is the case. Other thing is this is probably a blanket statement. She's speaking on things, but she's not saying what she's speaking on, so actually nobody knows. But you guys have a little bit of an idea now since I've made this journalistic piece.
I've just reached a point where I no longer feel the need to defend myself as hard as I have been.
You know what you do? Okay, fine. You grew up on the internet and you did something really horrible, okay? And now the whole internet has found you and they're coming for you. What do? You say, I'm sorry. At the time, I didn't think it was a big deal. I guess you could say that, whatever. And I'm trying to do better. And, you know, say a bunch of things that actually mean something. I'm trying to do better. You know, like, you know, keep me accountable. Like, you could ask them to keep you accountable. And stuff, just be fucking real. Like, I know you don't care, but maybe at least attempt to look like you fucking care. And then you make that apology video real. No crying. If you start crying, you retake that fucking shot. I don't want to see you fucking crying in your apology video. And you pin it on every single one of your profiles. Read this before anything. There's your disclaimer, girl. Now you don't gotta say nothing else. Like, it's really that simple. I'm gonna be honest with you. You just don't want to. They just enjoy being bad people. They don't think that they did anything that was that bad. They're like, oh, it wasn't that bad though. So I don't understand why you're coming at me like that. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Of course I have skeletons in my closet. So do you. Don't expect me to be a flawless person because
You don't have to be flawless. But I feel like you should admit to mistakes. But you know, she knows it's that bad. She knows it's that bad. That's why she doesn't. That's why she's so mysterious about it. Because she knows. And she's trying to play it off.
I'm not, and neither are you.
I personally have never been in any of the alleged situations that you're in, and I'd wager to bet that most people have not been in similar alleged situations. But to try to make them seem less serious than they are is not good. If you have serious alleged situations like this, you should handle them in a serious way and address them.
No, I'm dead ass. No crying, Oni with the tough love. I'm so dead ass. Look at me right now. Look at me in my eyes right now. If you do an apology video and you did something bad and you're apologizing for that, if I see you crying in your apology video, that's it. That's raps for you. Honestly. At that point, it's just going to be a fucking meme. Because how are you crying after you did a bad thing? Can I help you?
In a serious manner.
I was born just a few months after dial-up internet was invented. My parents got me
Okay, girl. I grew up on the internet too. Get with the fucking program. Just about everybody has.
my first computer at the age of 4, and my mom spent 20 years as a professional coder before transitioning to medical coding for a surgery center when technology evolved. So to say I know my way around the internet is an understatement. I have built brands,
Baby, it doesn't seem like you really know that much about the goddamn internet because you fucking act like you don't know shit. This is what knowing how the internet works. This is like her depiction of, oh, I know how the internet works. Yeah, babe, you obviously don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. You very obviously don't.
managed accounts, and marketed for bands that are now hugely successful in the industry.
Okay, which band? Marketed for bands that are hugely successful in the industry. Which bands? Care to name some?
The internet?
Oh, no? No, we're not naming anything? Oh, okay. No, but you're so proud of it because they got so huge and you did such a good job for them. You're so proud of it, but we're not going to mention any names, right? Oh, okay.
It's kind of my thing.
Because you're a marketing genius, right?
So you're a millennial. Me too. Means nothing. And your mom being a coder means...
James, I know. I understand what you're saying. I know. She's literally, like, guilt tripping. Yeah, I know. It's okay. James, are you okay?
Nothing. I grew up with at least 3 friends that were good at coding. We all had MySpace. I don't know what the argument is being made.
Exactly.
here.
But let's be real for a second. I am not a perfect person. As I have stated, I have made mistakes like anyone else. The difference is, when I mess up,
Hey, that's fucked up. Wait, do I have lipstick? Ah! I have lipstick. That's what I was looking at. Okay.
I hold myself accountable to the people I've actually wronged, not to the entire internet.
I feel like if you're gonna say, I know how the internet works, but then at the same time say, I don't owe anything to the people on the internet, I feel like then you might just not know how the internet works, honey. If you want the harassment to stop, you would know how to do that but because you said you know how the internet works, right? Oh, yeah, you know how the internet works? And then how come you're being harassed then? I don't know. You've been doing this for years? This is how you built your platform? This is how you wanted to build it? And now you're upset because people are telling you that it sucks?
And that's exactly what I did 5 months ago when a situation happened. I took responsibility, I apologized directly to the people involved, and whether or not they want to accept my apology, that is on them.
No, absolutely nobody knows what she's talking about. This is what the blankets...
Vague and mysterious. Like I was saying, vague and mysterious because she's done so many things, or she does such bad things that she doesn't want people to know exactly what she's talking about. Just, she did something. But we don't need to discuss it.
statement is. She's not saying...
I just don't know how you're gonna put every single aspect of your life on the internet and then get mad when people start dissecting it. Babes, I thought you knew how the internet worked. I'm sorry?
what it is that she's addressing. That we would like to know. I have no idea. You have no idea.
These last few weeks,
This is so fucking stupid.
things have spiraled into ways that are completely unacceptable. People have taken these situations into real life, contacting my job, threatening my small business, and even dragging my child into it. Despite the care I take to protect my
Checkpoint.
child's privacy, people are
Blinker checkpoint.
using her full name in public comments and making threats towards her. And let me be very clear, this is not a
Let me be clear. You guys know that meme? Do you guys know what meme I'm talking about? Let me be clear. Every time somebody says that, that's what I think of.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it's within the realm of possible.
It's the meme where it's like, it's Obama and Obama says, let me be clear. And then he disappears. Ah, that shit gets me every time. I fucking love that meme.
Possibility that you were wrong. But I will say, if anybody's doing these types of things, then the police needs to be contacted immediately.
Oh, I'm
This
gonna
is
start
you,
crying.
This is you. This is you. The tattoo of her name is you. I had to blur her name right here. This is a post from Tumblr from about 6 years ago. These are all things that you posted. Everything that I'm talking about, you posted.
And for the people that are spreading rumors about me doxing others, it's not doxing if it's public information.
That same logic could be applied to her. When she's telling people to stop talking about her kid, like, nobody should be talking about anybody's children, but, girl, it's public information. Because you made it public information.
When someone recently publicly harassed me using their own full government name on a Facebook account, a quick Google search gave me 2 addresses. I simply asked, hey, which one is yours? To be a little... And instead of denying either one of them, they confirmed, that's my address and the other one is my grandma's. And it's not my fault that they lack discretion.
You are incorrect about what doxing is.
Yeah, I feel like every single, like, anything I keep hearing the words that she's saying, and it just makes me believe that she just doesn't.
Just because you find it on Google does not mean that you can post it. That is the very definition of doxing. Dox. Search for and publish private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. It sounds like you're intimidating people with threats. It also sounds like you told on yourself. Now, just because it's on Google doesn't mean you can post it. And
She thinks that because she did it. Hold on, wait, let me rephrase. Because I had a thought, and then it flew out of my head. Because my armpits are sweating, and I'm thinking about how sweaty my armpits are. Alright, let me catch up.
I need to emphasize that. There is CSA on the internet. You can't post that. That's a felony.
They're
Now,
sweaty.
if the information has been publicly posted by an individual, it's not. It comes down to intent. If you are maliciously trying to hurt someone, that is not okay. That is doxing. Even if it's on Google. If you find somebody's address, their name, and you take it and put it on another platform, that's doxing. It's a little bit nuanced, but there you go. I've been doing this for a while. Trust me, this is how it works.
So let me make something
No, you gotta trust Cinnabunny. She's been doing this for a while. What do you mean?
crystal clear here. I will do whatever I need to do to protect my family. Threaten me, you'll face consequences.
Okay, let's see what's left out of this, because there are some high points where he was reading something. Because this is just her threatening people, basically.
2 of them are previous exes, and 1 is someone who went to one of these intimate parties. Again, these are anecdotes from alleged witnesses, not empirical evidence. In civil cases, we go over anecdotes.
Wait, hold on.
We went over 2 CPS cases in this video that are directly related to you.
But people talk and haters run with anything. If you're here to support me as a regular person who messes up sometimes but is doing their best to share their life authentically and
She's only the type of girl you keep a picture in a locket for when you're off to war.
on poly through personal lived experiences. Hi, hello, my name is Dana. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm happy to be here to educate you.
I hope you stick around.
Girl, I don't think she should be educating anybody on anything. I think she's the one that needs to get educated, because, like, that's crazy. What? Who? Girl, what are we talking about right now?
Dana, that being said, I have 3 witness anecdotes I'd like to go over. 2 of them are previous exes, and 1 is someone who went to one of these intimate parties. Again, these are...
Ooh, so we have witness statements. Okay, we're gonna look at these witness statements, and then we're gonna see what she has to say in response to people talking about facts. I don't know what the fuck she would have to say.
anecdotes from alleged witnesses, not empirical evidence. In civil cases, we go over anecdotes to try to put things within the realm of possibility. That being said, let's go over the first. I asked, how did you come to know about her? She said, so I met Dana through a mutual friend we had, and I liked their photography skills.
I kept your Polaroid in my helmet when I was deployed. No, you didn't.
So I reached out to them and asked if they would do a photo shoot for me, which they agreed and came to my home to do the photo shoot, and that's how we met. I asked, how did you end up at her party? So I went to their party. I flew up from Florida to Tennessee because they were hosting content making party for like 4 days straight. And so I went and stayed at their house for 4 days. And I found out about it because they messaged me personally asking if I would be interested in coming, and I said yes. Her mother was ill. Was she there when you went? Yeah, she was there, and also Tiny Human was there too. I said, how did that dynamic work? Did you see them while you were there? I'm assuming this was a normal house that she calls a unique living situation. I did see them. They remained upstairs. Dana lives in a multi-level house, so the basement is where I was at most of the time. But we were allowed to go upstairs as long as we weren't like actively doing anything inappropriate. So I went up a few times because Dana invited me to have dinner with her family. I see. Was that an odd request? Did she talk about inappropriate things at the table? It made me a little uncomfortable because of the reason I was there. I was under the impression that would be more of a professional studying more than a personal home setting, if that makes sense. I'm usually used to like content houses being like strictly for content. There's no kids, no parents, anything like that. So yeah, it was out of the ordinary weird for me. They talked about weird things like while I was there, but she kind of coded it in a way Tiny Human wouldn't know. I didn't understand the type of situation, but their mom knew what Dana was talking about. And then she replied yes to being a normal house with a full-size basement. And then I asked if they had any evidence of Tiny Human being downstairs. And then she sent me some pictures with inappropriate things in the background. Pictures of the child on the pole.
I'm sorry, what?
Some pictures with inappropriate things in the background. Pictures of the child on the pole. And then I asked if she actually ever cleaned the pole, because that would be gross. The 4 days that I was there, they cleaned it once. They also allowed people to be completely naked on the side pole, and the very next day they would allow Tiny Human to use it. And then she explains to me the layout of the home, and somehow had like the layout of like the structure of the home, and I feel like I can't share that, so I'm not going to. Do you think Tiny Human saw anything disturbing during those times, or things that a child shouldn't see? And then she said X-rated magazines, the pictures on the walls, the toys.
So basically she's like, I'm gonna tell the internet that I'm doing things the right way, but I'm just not gonna do it because they don't know, because they can't see it. But I'm also gonna invite people over and also show them that I'm doing things in an unsafe way. But then I'm gonna say that I wasn't, and you guys are lying because I never said that I was.
Downstairs bathroom had phallic-shaped soap you'd wash your hands with, and Dana didn't scurry to hide anything. Was anyone at the party without clothes or engaging in inappropriate things while Tiny Human was in the house? Yes, she was upstairs.
I'm sorry?
Anything. Was anyone at the party without clothes or engaging in inappropriate things while Tiny Human was in the house? Yes, she was upstairs. How many people would typically attend? Anywhere from 10 to 30 people, depending on the party.
I have never done a collab with more than 10 people. So you're telling me you had 30 people in your house and you background checked all of them? Doesn't seem very likely.
Were there any illegal substances at these parties? Yes, there were. She lists a couple. Did you see Tiny Human at all during these parties? Yes, she came down a couple times to socialize with us and read us stories and would dance on the pole they had. Now we're moving on to anecdote 2, which is one of the exes. I think they were together for a few months, named Shania, I believe. I think this is Shayna. I said, okay, there are a few things I'm concerned about. Individuals that had certain diseases at the parties, her child being present on the areas, and damage she caused. And again, this is all alleged. I normally wouldn't speak about this stuff, but seeing as the setting of the situation, I believe it is important to tell you that stuff like this is going on for your own safety. To be honest, I'm not sure about diseases. I believe Dana has always hidden the fact that she has one from a lot of people, because even I'm finding out about that. She also doesn't get checked out regularly like she should between partners.
So we're gonna talk about professionalism and you don't even get checked between partners?
old or new. I remember in the past, I was home during one instant where Dana was having a 4 people get together and shooting content with their friends and partners, and Eli and Tiny Human were down the hall. When it comes to damages,
Down the hall?
it's been mostly mental and emotional. She used to hold her intimacy over my head, used to hold not being a man or having a thing downstairs to gaslight me, manipulate me. It was always 2v1, slander me to her own friends and partners, and they would come to me specifically and tell me. She wanted me all to herself. I met her January of 2022 and moved in with her as soon as February, March of 2022, and ended things in April. I wasn't going to say anything about what I experienced with her until she went to social media to slander me. I did see Dana calling her a narcissist. Let's play that.
So it turns out that narcissists fall in love really fast when they need a place to stay. That didn't work out, so.
I asked, why did you decide to move in with her? She said, when I met her, I thought we hit it off as friends. I thought it would have been just a friendship. I moved in with her because I needed a place to stay. It was until I moved in with her I started to see things for what they were and how she was.
So basically what you're telling me is that Dana's a predator.
I said, what did you see? And
She be preying on people. Because if you're gonna come into the house thinking that you're gonna be friends, and then this person moves in and you start getting weird with them.
did she ask you to move in or did you ask? She said she asked me to move in and that she saw someone who was confident, LMFAO. I said, was the child around inappropriate things? She said, yes. I said, what kind of things? She said, poles, paddles, floggers, and toys. I said, one thing I'm seeing is a pattern of sourcing individuals for inappropriate things via social media and Tinder. She said, that's one source, or going out to bars and picking up someone under the influence.
Predator counter. My predator counter's going off again. This is giving predator. Predator.
How would they go about doing this? Just feeding drinks to people and pushing themselves on others. I said people said there were experiences of emotional and psychological ABUSC while in relationships with Dana. They described manipulation, coercion into inappropriate activities, and inappropriate substance use. The toxic relationship dynamics. Can you highlight any of these things? She said, correct. Dana has tried to manipulate, coerce me into doing things with them. I never did. Dana has touched me, my partner, and friends unwanted. Dana has also tried to get other people to do illegal substances. And then I asked, do you think a video is needed about this subject and why? Honestly, yes. There are many more victims of Dana all throughout the Reddit page who lurk and some who have not come forward. I think it would do them justice. Past victims and current victims a chance to finally be heard. Dana has gotten away with a lot of bad things for far too long. Now we're going to move on to anecdote 3, which is an ex named Gabby. I asked if she could explain how they met. Yeah, we met on Tinder back in October 2022 when I was pretty fresh from a breakup with a long-term boyfriend at the time. We were monogamous for over 4 years, and I felt like I needed to explore poly.
Whoops. I put it on the wrong speed. Hold on.
On a date or two in November or December of 2022, but we didn't start seeing each other more often until March, April of 2023. Started seeing each other more seriously at the beginning of the summer. I asked if the previous relationship was monogamous, and you wanted to explore poly with her. Yes to the first half, no to the poly in general. Dana and I didn't meet until a few weeks after the breakup, and Dana was the first actually practicing poly person I met from Tinder and actively went on a date with. So you went on a date with just her. Yet, for the first handful of days it was just us. I didn't meet Eli until about April 2022. Eli is the current guy, and were they already together at the point of you going on dates? Yes, Eli is their so-called husband, and they'd been together for 4 to 5 years by the time we got together. I said, why did you stop seeing them? That's a big old question, LMFAO. I have to voice memo my answer. Okay.
There was quite a lot that led to our breakup. I was in therapy, still am, same therapist. And over time, there was a lot of stuff that I let slide about their behavior that I didn't like, or that I did with in some shape or form. And having witnessed them directly hurt somebody that we all cared about because they couldn't admit that they had done wrong, that they had done any wrong whatsoever, I couldn't get past that, and I was really, really angry at them for not being able to admit that they had fucked up. And if they couldn't admit that they fucked up when it came to our friends, then they would never be able to admit that they fucked up in any capacity when it came to our relationship. So I left. So when it came to Eli, one sec. If I had stayed with Eli, but didn't stay with Dana, even then I didn't feel right because I knew that that would have caused Dana a lot of, I don't know, strife, I guess. But I also felt that Eli was some kind of accomplice to Dana, or enabler, which is even worse, in my opinion. And I tried talking to him about Dana and their behavior, but all he said was that, like, he thought they were doing better, and wouldn't really push Dana to be better. And I don't know, just over time, some of his behavior was alarming to me, and I never brought it up because it felt dumb and stupid to even bring it up. But yeah, I left them both because they both have a ton of issues and they're in their 30s.
I said, thanks. Who did they hurt? A mutual friend of ours by pushing them to do illegal substances even though they were sober from illegal
Oh yeah, I heard about
substances
this.
for a year.
This was really
At
fucked
her
up.
birthday party, no less. Dana swore up and down that she'd said, maybe later, the first time they asked. The second time they said no. Dana swears they only asked twice and stopped after the first no. Other witnesses say, nope, they kept asking, saying it wasn't even much to get a lift off of. Just a little. I said, what did Eli enable and what was his alarming behavior? Dana's meltdowns and their continuously harmful behavior. He never pushed Dana to be a more present mother. He never said...
Alright, I think we're good on this because you can just end it with her boyfriend supports her. I don't really care about what specifically. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to really quickly check on, like, what she had to say about this. Because, like, what are you even gonna say? Okay, it was facts. He pulled up facts and references from her specifically. So I just want to see the fuck? What is she gonna say? Like, what can you say to make this any better? Maybe I would have just not said anything. Like, thank you, Rudy. I appreciate it.
Hi, hello, it's me, Dana. I wanted to take a moment to address a certain video that has been circulating about me. I wrote this script over the last couple of days.
Look at this. I made this video to respond, but not because I owe anything to a straight cis white man who's never met me. Babes, this is white on white crime. Let's be for real here.
I really wanted to sit on it and make sure
It's
that
like a
was
weird
what
thing, I feel like, to point
wanted
out.
to say what I wanted to say, and that I felt really good about it. So that's why I am addressing this like a whole week later. I'm trying to be more intentional and give more clarity to the thoughts in my brain, especially with having BPD. So,
Okay, so what? And that's just literally just a. Let me put this on faster. Bunch of mumbo jumbo.
yeah, let's get into it. I understand that when things like this get made, a YouTube video with someone that has a large following, people are going to have opinions about me, my past, and my personal life choices. But there are some serious misrepresentations and misunderstandings that I feel the need to personally clarify. First off, a large portion of the video focuses on my pending divorce from my ex-husband. Well, I refer to him as my ex-husband. Legally, we're still married, not because I want to be, but
They're still married?
because the divorce process has been long, complicated, and very expensive. I personally have legal representation. I have a really good lawyer. My pending ex-husband does not. He has been to jail 3 times since I started the divorce process, one of those times being a felony charge. He's moved states without notifying the courts, and he's just done everything he can possibly do to drag this out. I have been actively working to separate from him for 3 to 4 years now. I have been separated from him, just not legally, for 7 to 8 years. The only reason why I filed for divorce only 4-ish years ago was because that was when I was able to afford a lawyer. I need to be very clear to the internet that I married Matt Hare at the lowest point in my personal life. At the time, I wasn't close with my family. I was struggling with substance abuse.
I don't really care.
I made a lot of bad choices, and one of those bad choices was just getting involved with him in the first place. At the time, I had already legally married him when I started hearing about the horrible things he had been involved in. I had legally married him months before we actually had a wedding, so I was already deep in it. I wish that I could say I immediately believed what I was hearing and did the right thing, but I didn't. Instead, I doubled down and defended him because I was scared. I didn't know what else to do, and because as someone with BPD, admitting I was wrong felt impossible.
I have BPD. I admit that I'm wrong every day. I do wrong things and I make mistakes. But the point of the matter is what you do after you make that mistake and how you act after the fact. You can recognize that you made a mistake, cool. But what are you doing to correct that mistake? Nothing? Then you're not doing anything.
But I was wrong. I want to be very clear that I wasn't fully aware of the details of his underage relationship, as he manipulated me into believing she was closer in age to him, and it fell within the Romeo and Juliet laws of Florida, and
I don't think she believes that because there's proof.
she had parental consent. Her and I have recently talked within the last...
Parental consent doesn't mean anything. I don't know why we keep mentioning that.
2 weeks, and we've made amends. Things are good. It wasn't until I separated from him that I truly began to realize the weight of his manipulation and betrayal of his lies. I have been separated from him for years now. I have done everything I can to
I might play Minecraft later, yes.
protect myself and my daughter from him, which I admit sometimes hasn't been enough. I am a victim of his too, and so is my daughter. I completely understand that when I was with him, I was unkind to the other people he hurt, other victims of his. I do not expect those people to forgive me. I don't expect kindness or friendship from them, and
Well, nobody's gonna forgive you because you haven't apologized. You've never apologized. How is anybody gonna forgive her if she doesn't issue an apology? You didn't apologize for anything. You're just saying that these people don't like you and you're acknowledging them. Acknowledging them is not equal to a fucking apology.
I am not asking for it. But I do feel deeply sorry for the ways that I contributed to their being, both at the time and potentially continuously. I am exhausted by being lumped in with Matt Hare as if I
That's gonna happen when you justify the things that he's done.
am still on his side, as if I haven't done everything in my power to remove him from my life. Surviving him was one of the hardest things I have ever done, and I did it for my daughter. There is also a lot of confusion about what happened when he harmed my child. People bring up how I told the police I didn't believe he was capable of something like that, and what I need people to understand is that when the police questioned me, they did not follow correct legal protocol. They were supposed to interview me separately.
But that's exactly what she said herself out of her blog. That's the exact words that she used in her blog.
They did not. They interviewed me in front of him while he was actively abusing me.
We already talked about this. She could have just come back after if she recognized that.
I answered that question completely out of fear and said that I didn't think he was capable of doing such a thing. Shocker, the police didn't do their job. I have spent years taking accountability for my past and making sure I grow from it. I am not the same person I was back then, but people continue to spread misinformation, and it's important to me that I set the record straight. And just to touch base, I still have his legal last name because it's my daughter's legal last name.
This is all stuff that, like, is like, okay. It doesn't make anything any better, so... Girl.
It would be fairly cheap for me to change my last name, but it would cost thousands of dollars for me to change my daughter's last name because he is still her biological dad. We're still legally married, so I can't change my daughter's last name without his legal
Yeah, that
permission
makes sense.
or until the divorce is finalized.
Oh my god, nobody gives a fuck about the last name. If anybody's dogging you about a last name, they're stupid. And you know that. And that's so dumb for that to be one of the things that you point out 5 minutes into the video. Are you kidding?
I'm waiting for our
There's way worse things that she has done, and she's talking about a goddamn last name.
change me and my daughter's last names prior to the divorce being finalized. My name change will be changed because we need for that.
I don't fucking care.
That is $1,000 to change my daughter's
I don't
last name
care.
needed from me. That this, at times, I have come with intention. When people started accusing him of SAing my child when she was only 1 year old, I felt the need to correct that misinformation. While he did physically harm my daughter, it was not SA. And while he did SA a minor, it was not my child, nor was it someone under the age of 5. It was a 15-year-old. I was not trying to downplay the severity of what...
Yes, you did, because when you first were talking about it, you said it was a 17 or 16-year-old, and now you're admitting that it actually is a 15-year-old. And whether they're 5 or 15, what does it matter?
he did. I just wanted people to have the correct information when discussing his actions, because a lot of people thought that the SA towards a minor that he did was towards my daughter when she was only 1 year old. And that just wasn't true. I now understand that in my attempts to clarify, I unintentionally sounded like I was defending him, and that's absolutely not what I was trying to do. I do not and will not ever defend him again. I only was defensive of him when I was actively married to him, which was like 2015 to 2017. In the video, after discussing Matt, Repzilla moves on to the claim that
Okay, I'm glad she said that at least. At least she said that. At least she did one good deed in this video.
I hosted adult parties while my child was home. There are a lot of misunderstandings, lies, and half-truths
Oh, let's see what her explanation for this is.
in the retelling of these stories,
What the
and I want
fuck?
to set the record straight. One of my exes,
Guys, it's story time. Let's get popcorn.
Shayna, has come forward claiming that she witnessed my daughter being home for a party. I really wish my mother were still alive to corroborate my story, but Shayna lived with me when I was still in Orlando, and during that time, my mom lived close by, only like an hour and a half away. And anytime I was hosting a party or engaging in any adult activities, my daughter was staying the weekend with my mom and not in my home. I never had my daughter in my Orlando home while I was partying. The way this narrative is being spun is misleading and ignores the reality that I took steps to ensure my child was not exposed to adult situations. There's been a lot of misinformation and exaggeration about me hosting adult parties at my Tennessee home while my child was present. People are acting like my house is some sort of free-for-all where strangers constantly come and go, but that's just not the truth at all. The people who attended these adult gatherings were my partners, my metamors, which are partners of my partners, or friends that I knew outside of the adult industry that just happened to do adult industry work as well. People that I had real world friendships with. For example, one of the people currently speaking against me is Emily, also known as Spice, and she claims in an interview that she stayed at my house for 4 days to film content and found it weird when she was invited upstairs to have dinner with my child and my mom and my family. But Emily wasn't just someone I worked with. She was a friend. I had been to her house and met her 3 children before. The only time she was around my child was when nothing work-related was happening.
Hey. just to brush up on this. Just because the work environment is friendly does not mean you're friends. Just because she's being nice and courteous in your home and you're doing the same thing does not necessarily make you friends. If you met for and through work, that is a work friendship. Therefore, there is a level of professionalism that you should hold up. I've met people like this, and they make me uncomfortable.
From my personal perspective, she was visiting as a friend, and while she was here, we made time to do adult work. That doesn't mean my child was ever exposed to it. People are also pushing this narrative that I posted these adult events consistently. Like I've been throwing wild parties every single week since moving in. In reality, I've lived in this home for
I'm good. Just listening to this lady, like, just lie about a bunch of stuff.
a little over 3 years,
Or this
and
person.
I have only hosted 2 events of this nature.
You're on lunch break? What do you even do for work?
Both times my child was either with my
Okay.
child with this idle workspace for a he in that thing is he was having this quest because he's not her biological normal for home. He's no that should be here till we but he's also saying that space I'm only speaking on this now because I was called out. But the reality is I lurk in spaces where people are talking about me, and I've seen so many comments saying that I should be addressing these things, saying I should post exactly what I'm posting right now. But I also know that no matter what I do, people will twist it. If I post this, people will say I'm only doing it because I felt forced and I'm...
Well, now that you're saying that, yeah, it's giving. Because you're being very ingenuine. Yeah. What the fuck is this bitch on?
performative. If I don't post this, people will say I'm avoiding accountability. It's a double-edged sword where there's no winning. At the end of the day, I'm being as honest and transparent as I can.
I thought she knew how the internet worked. Guys, I thought she said that she did a bunch of stuff on the internet and she knew how the internet worked. And I thought she said that she was helped with social medias and made people super famous and stuff like that. you knew how the internet worked, then I feel like you would understand that there are always going to be people that are going to say something. But it's about what you say yourself about the situation and the way you say it. Because the people that are dissing you aren't you. They're just dissing you. So just say the truth. Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard for her because she can't say the truth. I'm sorry. That's the point. It's hard for her because she can't say the truth because the truth is bad, probably. So.
Possibly can. I have continuously addressed things as they come up, but people keep acting like I.
Alright, girl. She's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Literally. Guys, that apology was really bad. I don't even think that was an apology. She wasn't apologizing. She was explaining, which is that is so fucking stupid. Yeah, so on the people scale, I'll rate her a 2, because she's not a very good person. She was still standing on business just from a step stool, like, literally. You're so funny for that. But yeah. I'm gonna leave this here because I'm hungry and I yapped about this person for way too long. But this is what I do in my free time. I just be looking at stuff like this. So I brought you with me today. And it definitely was something. But I will be back playing Minecraft later, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a fun gaming time, and we're gonna be silly, and we're gonna be super blasted. So thank you for sitting here with me listening to this. I hope you enjoyed our little brain rot session together, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and catch me later for Minecraft.